When you get married, does it become now our money? And what basis do you use to say now this is our money? Anyway, as usual, we still have a packed up show for you. It is a Monday, so obviously plenty in store for you, from the different dailies to the news, the different conversations, and also how our roads will be looking like this morning. Our focus being centered on the Muthaiga roundabout. Always a busy area, busy section, especially in the early morning hour, as well as also the evening rush hours. So this is why this morning we'll be looking at that particular section, not forgetting that still there's a lot happening on most of our roads. And this is just in terms of improving infrastructure, and again BRT is also clearly slowly taking shape along that particular section. So this is why this morning we will make that our focus when it comes to traffic. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Ray.
Good morning. I'm Regina Manyara. Indeed, you're in good company, being the 7th day of February 2022. You know, my colleagues here are counting 7 days to Valentine's, but I want to throw some spun into the works. How about if you already have a Valentine every day? I mean, it's just a matter of affirmation and confirmation on that day. So those who are going for the conference, all the best. Just remember, COVID is still within us. You need to social distance, mask, and wash your hands thoroughly with running water and soap, or use a good sanitizer, right?
I think we need to have Regina and Victor on split. Two hapo.
Yes, Victor
and you guys are matching.
Please,
you guys are matching.
Okay. No problem.
Gray
You're matching.
Yeah. Regina, are you our SecGen?
No. You see, I just happen to be of the school of thought that you know what?
of...
Regina Ashasema, if you have a Valentine's on a daily.
Yeah, if your Valentine's for you is on a daily, I think that day is just going to be an affirmation and confirmation.
Who you
but those who are running away, conference, yada yada, all the best. We just want to remind you that we are living during the COVID times. We are not running away.
This is something that has been happening for so many years.
And these are people who are ever running away. So this is their lifestyle. Let them continue. However, I am just concerned.
AGM. So it's
Victor, I am concerned that when you guys come back, we're going to be talking at so got COVID. La. Now we're wishing you and reminding you. You know what?
It's okay.
It is okay. Kindly carry a sanitizer. Yeah.
A mask.
You know, social distance.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Or I don't know, when are you coming back? Is
There's a steering committee handling that perfectly well. So
okay. If that is handled, no problem. Now let's talk about the AFCON. You said Liverpool fans can say that Liverpool won the AFCON. But I also want to remind you that there was a player there, Mendy of Chelsea there. And this win by the Teranga Lions of Senegal, Viva. We said this last week that was my team. And can I say that I told you so?
Did you say Senegal or just because you won?
Senegal, actually.
You are not for the Pharaohs?
Teranga Lions. Teranga Lions.
Wacha nisiashe moto siwezi zima.
Now you see, Senegal has been trying this for the last 3 times, and this was a golden moment. I've seen some of the comments coming in, and we have a gentleman who said Egypt had overconfidence in Gabaski. That's the Egyptian goalkeeper there. The guy is fabulous. But I tend to think that even with what people have been saying, especially those who watched that match that was played at 10 p.m., they're saying that Egypt was really, really, really overconfident in its goalkeeper and actually played towards the penalty. However, this other person goes on and says, you know, Senegal knew they had a mountain to deal with, so they put their best foot forward. Now, let's talk about the coach, Aliou Cissé. AFCON's record, if you can see, since his permanent appointment in Senegal in 2015. So 2017, he lost in the quarterfinals. 2019, he lost in the finals. And 2021, he is a champion. 3 times is always, well, what can you say?
The power of resilience.
The power of 3, the Holy Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Those who went to church, that is. We're just bringing you, we're just recapping the weekend. Now, just to bring that to a close, this is banter that you're welcome to participate in. We are live on our various platforms, including welcoming your feedback on Twitter. I'm on Twitter as Ray Manyara. However, The station handle still remains at KBC Channel 1. Now, without further ado, we take a quick break. When we're back, we're going to be bringing you up to speed with what has been making headlines in the last 24 hours. Do not go away. Good morning. Glad you've joined us. This is KBC Channel 1 and this is Good Morning Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara. Now, the government-led security operation kicked off in insecurity-prone areas of the North Rift. The operation covers Baringo, West Pokot and Turkana counties. A heavy contingent of police drawn from various security forces is currently on the ground to mop up illegal firearms in the hands of civilians. As Internal Security CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i on Friday said, the operation will be firm and painful.
At the home of the late Robert Lokitar in Marigat area of Baringo North, Baringo County, grief and loneliness are evident here. Lokitar, the father of one boda operator, was shot dead on Saturday along the Kapedo Lomelo Road on his way to Lokori while he was on his daily activities.
Hiyo kijana yetu ni na sisi nategemea yeye kwa peke yake. Na hiyo ni uchungu sana kwa sisi, bado lala kutoka jana. Ile tunasikia uchungu.
Na aliwao kama anaendesha pikipiki, si ati alikuwa anachunga mbuzi ama alikuwa anafanya nini? Alikuwa anasafiri tu kama wasafiri wengine. Lakini sasa hapo Pokot wakamuua bure tu hivyo. Hata mimi nasikia uchungu sana. Kisemekana tuko na amani na bado watu wanauawa bure.
And in retaliatory, residents here trained their anger to a bus traveling to Churo Tiati, partially damaging it.
Watu walivunja ile basi sababu wanasikia bado mtu yetu ameoa na bado watu wanapigana kule Lomelo na Kapedo. So sisi kama watu wa Marigat wamekasirika kwa sababu wanaona ni kama si jambo nzuri ambalo kama inaendelea kwa sababu unaua mtu yetu and then bado mnaendelea kutupiga bado. So ndio watu wakakasirika wakaamua kugonga ile basi.
The spate of killings, cattle theft and destruction of property has seen the government kick off a disarmament exercise in the security-prone counties of Baringo, West Pokot and Turkana.
Hiyo shughuli ya operation ya security, niambia viongozi wanasiasa washirikiane na serikali na wakubaliane, serikali ifanye kazi yake ili kuleta amani Baringo North.
Sisi tunaomba tu hata kama mambo ya KBR kama Matiang'i amesema wataandika mambo ya KBR, watu andike. Operation ikiendelea hata sisi tunasaidia area polepole.
Heavy contingent of police drawn from different forces is on the ground on a security operation to mop up illegal guns in the restive region.
And I keep on saying that the government should enact a law that requires that anybody who loses his livestock for reasons of insecurity, those who lose their lives, they must be compensated within a given period of time by the government, so that it compels the government to take the necessary steps to ensure that private property is protected as it is written in our constitution.
The government has warned that the operation will not spare anybody with illegal firearms.
We will be keeping tabs on any development down in the rift during this particular operation that kicked off on Friday. On to matters politics, Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi and his Ford Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula have defended their pact with Deputy President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance, claiming their previous engagements with ODM Chief Raila Odinga have borne no fruits. The Kenya Kwanza core principles called on democratic elections. Wycliffe Okech has that report.
In what was an apparent homecoming for the Amani National Congress party leader Musalia Mudavadi in Vihiga since the coming together of the ANC, Ford Kenya and UDA parties, The Kenya Kwanza Alliance kickstarted its week-long charm offensive mission at St. Luke's Anglican Church, Mwisho in Vihiga County, where the alliance sought to solidify its grip in the region.
Sisi tunataka kuhakikishia jamii yetu, don't look back, listen to your leaders, believe in your leaders and walk with your leaders.
Munatia muhuri ya muungano. Munasema William Ruto afanye na Musalia na Weta na huyu muungwana wenu pamoja.
From St. Luke's, the convoy hit the road running with the stopovers at Luanda, Majengo, Hamisi, Serem and Shamakoko towns. Here, the leaders called upon area residents to support the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, promising changes in the education and agriculture sectors.
Tunajua iko jambo linawakera wazazi, walimu na hata wanafunzi, inaitwa CBC, mfumo wa elimu. Hiyo tukiingia mwezi wa 8 tunaiondoa, tunabadilisha ili tumpatie ile mfumo mnaelewa.
Sisi wote tumeungana kwa sababu tunataka sio Musalia apate ama William Ruto apate ama Weta apate. Tunataka kupanga mambo ya wananchi kwanza. Na ndio tunasema Kenya.
Mudavadi and Wetangula used the opportunity to answer critics of the alliance with Deputy President William Ruto, claiming their association with ODM leader Raila Odinga ended in betrayal.
Mzee wetu jirani hapa tumemsaidia mara mingi, mnajua. 2013 Weta alisimama na yeye, kweli rongo? 2017 Weta alisimama na yeye, Musalia alisimama na yeye, kweli rongo? Asante niliyopata ni kuchapa teke na kuambia toka kabisa.
Mimi nimesikia watu wakisema tunataka tuwe kwa serikali. Mimi sikatai. Lakini mimi nasema tunataka tuunde serikali. Kuna wale wanataka kuwa kwa serikali na wale wanataka kuunda serikali. Kuna tofauti. Tunataka tuulize Wakenya wetu ama watu wetu wa hapa Ingo. Munataka muingie kwa serikali, what is your entry point?
The alliance ended the day-long campaign trail with a rally at Mbale Municipal Club, where politics of succession took center stage, telling the president to keep off.
Tumekuja hapa ndio wale watu wako Nairobi wakipanga ule atakuwa rais, kwa mahoteli na kwa mikahawa na kwa maofisi, tuwaambie tukiwa Vihiga ya kwamba atupangwingwi. Tunataka tuambie President Uhuru Kenyatta, you cannot succeed yourself.
Hata wale wanaunga mkono mwana kitendawili, wale wanamsukuma saa hizi, the sponsors of the Kitendawili project, they know very well that Kitendawili has no capacity to run the affairs of this country. They want to run Kenya from behind, and we are telling them there is no way Kenyans can accept shadowy characters to run their country.
From Vihiga County, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance will be heading to Busia County on Monday and Kakamega County on Tuesday as part of an enhanced campaign to rally the Western Kenya region behind the alliance ahead of August 9 general polls.
Now, away from matters politics and into, still some other politics, so it seems, after the ANC. Now, let's look at what Oka is up to, where the One Kenya Alliance principal and wife leader Kalonzo Musyoka has refuted claims that the alliance has placed conditions and irreducible minimums for joining Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja. Kalonzo says Oka principals are leaders of integrity and cannot take such a route. The United Democratic Party leader Cyrus Jirongo, a principal in Oka, was quoted saying the formation will have a structured talk with Azimio before any merger.
One of the core principles of One Kenya Alliance, Cyrus Jirongo, on joining Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja.
We want to discuss with our friends in Azimio, but it must be in a structured manner.
But Wiper's Kalonzo Oka seems to be reading a different script from his fellow principal in Oka over the said conditions for them to join the Odinga's outfit.
Oka imetoa masharti fulani kabla ya kuungana na Azimio. Unanisikia? Mimi sio mtu wa kutaka chochote kutoka kwa mtu yeyote. Mambo ya serikali ni kunyakua. Uongozi unapeanwa na Mungu.
The Wiper leader said Oka is growing strong and maintained his stand that other formations should join Oka.
Sisi tunakaribisha wengine wanaotaka, tunawakaribisha wajiunge na Oka na sio Oka kumezwa na mtu yeyote.
Kalonzo at the same time challenged the office of the Attorney General to relook the shelf proposal on a law to regulate the registration of churches in the country. Speaking at the Redeemed Gospel Church in Uruma, where he attended Sunday service, Kalonzo claims the law infringes on the right of worship as enshrined in the 2010 Constitution.
Na kwa hivyo mimi nashangaa afisi ya Registrar General, afisi ya Attorney General, wakili mkuu wa serikali kama hawajasoma bado katiba. Katiba inasema hata kama unataka kuabudu Mungu ukienda juu chini, it is your constitutional right. Kwa hivyo najiuliza, ni kwa nini bado makanisa wanakatazwa kusajiliwa?
Now, still keeping up with matters politics, a section of political leaders have come out to defend President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying he is at liberty to front a candidate in the August election. The leaders said that the outgoing president, he has to ensure there is a smooth transition of power from his exit, that is.
At the Christian New Hope Ministries in Githurai, Nairobi, leaders accompanying Nairobi governorship candidate Tim Wanyonyi attended church service as they spread the Azimio la Umoja agenda. The leaders castigated those saying the president should not have a say in who should be the next president.
Na kwa sababu hawakupata, sasa wanasema baba amekuwa project ya Uhuru. Namna gani? Na Uhuru Kenyatta, vile Dennis amemwambia yeye anasalia Mkenya, hata yeye siku ya kupiga kura ataenda apewe ballot ambaye itakuwa na wagombezi wote na pia yeye atafanya uchaguzi wake.
Uhuru Kenyatta must also express himself. Lazima aambie wa Kenya ana manage hiyo mambo namna gani.
Meanwhile, ODM Party Director of Elections Junet Mohamed has said they are likely to conduct joint party primaries under the Azimio coalition.
We will come up with mechanisms and formulas to do nominations together, to do, now that we are partners, we will be doing things together.
Because we are waiting for the laws to be enacted, so that is now through Parliament and through Senate.
And State House Chief of Staff Nzioka Waita has launched his campaign for Machakos governor seat. Speaking after attending a church service at Kaani ABC in Machakos constituency, Waita announced that he would retire from civil service on February 8th to officially join politics.
Nataka wanieleze, mimi sitaki kwenda kuwaambia. Masaa ni mapema kuuza sera, mapema sana. Sababu ni vizuri tusikize na tusikizane, ndio tupange mikakati ya county pamoja na wananchi.
KRP, kuza kazi, kuza viwanda, linda nchi.
Elsewhere, Kenya Reform Party has unveiled its economic agenda, urging Kenyans to separate wheat from the chaff. The party, which rebranded from Diligence Development Alliance, says its main agenda is to pursue equality in economic and social development for all Kenyans.
We intend to engage the use of the mechanical gear in every county, every constituency, and every ward to create full employment for all Kenyans.
Our ultimate aim is to create an economic atmosphere that will lead to higher incomes, that will enable Kenyans to enjoy the basic human needs of modern life, that will in turn provide the means of our country to grow into a fully fledged development democracy.
And Nairobi senatorial candidate Milton Lucheri has launched his Nairobi senatorship bid. Lucheri says his main legislative agenda, if given the mantle, will be job creation and healthcare.
To the Senate, I will make sure that we legislate. We have a particular percentage of the national budget to be channeled towards SME seed fund for the county.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has attributed the significant progress in the war against malaria in Africa to a four-point program implemented by African leaders, Malaria Alliance. The head of state, who spoke in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where he presented last year's AMLA Malaria Progress Report, further lauded African countries for embracing the use of digital tools to strengthen evidence-based accountability and action in the fight against the disease.
During the ongoing 35th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Sunday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said that Africa had made significant progress in the war against malaria in the last 2 years.
When I became the chair of ALMA, I established an ambitious four-point legacy agenda, and I am pleased with the progress that we have made so far.
The head of state, who spoke when he presented last year's ALMA Malaria Progress Report, further said that isolated digitization and accountability and action scorecards, one of his four-point agenda against malaria, was an important tool in the campaign against the disease.
Our countries are implementing national scorecard tools, and this includes 40 scorecards for malaria, 29 for reproductive, maternal, newborn, adolescent and children health, 8 for neglected tropical disease, and 3 for nutrition, and 5 community scorecards.
President Kenyatta pointed out that in 2021, Kenya launched the ALMA Scorecard Hub to enable countries to share national health outcomes and best practices. To boost access to life-saving anti-malaria commodities, the president said countries are deploying mosquito nets and insecticides to address the threat of insecticide resistance.
To eliminate malaria by 2030 as per the AU agenda, we as a continent must scale up our collective efforts. I am glad to report that our countries have heeded to this call. And despite the pandemic of COVID-19, countries have provided strong leadership and did take concerted action to ensure that universal mosquito nets, indoor residual spraying, and seasonal malaria chemo prevention campaigns were implemented as planned.
While rallying African governments to invest more in the fight against malaria for the continent to meet its target of eliminating the disease by the year 2030, the president applauded the Global Fund and the U.S. President's Malaria Initiative for their continued support.
Available data shows that African countries account for 96% of global malaria cases, as well as 98% of global malaria deaths. So we are not on track to eliminate malaria by 2030 unless far-reaching strategies are adopted and executed to the letter.
Now, from today, Kenyans, that is you and I, will be mandated to subscribe to the National Health Insurance Scheme as the government prepares to roll out the Universal Health Coverage Program across the 47 counties. Through the subsidized essential health package provided by the scheme, Kenyans will have access to healthcare services with less financial strain. Juni Karisa with a report.
The testimonials of the first phase of the UHC program, rolled out in December 2018 across 4 counties, will provide a roadmap for the government to scale up access to healthcare services countrywide. The reforms at the National Health Insurance Fund will pave way for the government to reduce pocket expenditure from 32% to 20% this year. About 19% of Kenyans are insured by the Social Health Insurance, a number the government hopes to boost through mandatory enforcement. In a bid to reduce the 140,000 healthcare giver gap, the government will increase current ratio of 10 healthcare workers per 10,000 population to 13 health workers. Consequently, community units within a 5-kilometer radius will increase from 55% to 100% this year.
Tumepanga mpango ambao ni wananchi, si wa wetu wenyewe. Hii ni mpango ya wananchi ambayo watahudumiwa mahospitali na mpango wa National health insurance fund.
Kagwe was speaking in Mombasa ahead of the International Health Workforce Conference to be attended by 1,000 delegates from 24 countries. The health workforce will be benchmarking lessons learned during the pandemic as well as repositioning themselves post-COVID by use of telemedicine.
Are doctors going to use technology to examine patients? Will patients benefit from the use of technology while attending to their patients?
And we need to ensure that as we go into team-based care, the public is not left wanting about who to trust and who does what.
Now that brings a cap to what we have prepared for you in as far as in the headlines is concerned. Remember, you can get further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Further on is just to remind you that the second phase of the enhanced voter registration exercise closed, or rather wrapped up on Sunday amid, low voter turnout. However, some Kenyans were still seen lining up to take advantage of the opportunity to register. So, if you expect to cast your ballot, well, you must have made it to the list. Now, before we wrap up, let's recap of what the AFCON has been and looking at, what Kenyans as well as the globe has said about that win by the Teranga Lions there, and that is Senegal. Egypt had held this cup for the last 7 years, so to speak, that we've had the AFCON, and after the 3rd time, we have Senegal lifting the cup. There was a bit of mixed reactions, so to speak, so I am going to just sample but a few. Given that game ended on a 4-2 on penalties, 4-2 in favor of Senegal. A majority of soccer fans have not just talked about the players in both teams who happen to be playing for Liverpool, and that is Sadio Mane as well as Mo Salah there. There's a picture that has gone viral on social media after Mane scored the winning penalty. He went further to comfort Mo Salah, who was totally disappointed then. Someone said that is what sportsmanship is all about. We also have someone saying Aliou Cissé, a local coach, a champion, a legend and respect. Remember, he was picked as a coach in 2017, 3 tries to lift the African Cup in 2017, 2019, and finally yesterday they lifted the cup there as a champion, 3 times winner. I think this is the coach to watch, so to speak. And also Chelsea fans are also, saying, yeah, we had some representation there. And this has to be Edouard Mendy, who was awarded the best goalkeeper at the AFCON 2021. He plays for Chelsea. There's so much that has been said of this particular match. You can go online, get to read, get to participate as we now shift our focus to the EPL as well as the FA. Someone here says, no disrespect to Mendy and Mane, but I would have given the goalkeeper and player of the tournament to Gabaski. Gabaski is a goalkeeper, Egypt's goalkeeper. Well, he's something more of a force to reckon with. And during that particular game yesterday, we saw that Egypt totally relied on his prowess and Abubakar. I know neither of them won it, but in the term of individual performances, they were superb. These are the views of Joe Cran. The views continues trickling in as the world, just does a recap of what the AFCON 2021 has been. You can get all this detail on our website and our various social media platforms, including KBC Channel 1 YouTube, where you get to watch the highlights as well as just looking at how, the games are played. And better yet, after Good Morning Kenya, we're going to be having Sports Check, and you can bet we're going to be talking about AFCON 2021, the highs and the lows. So do keep it right here. But for now, we take a quick breather. When we're back, we're going to be sampling the various dailies that we have in studio with us today.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere. Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Seeing
All right, welcome back. We want to continue with Good Morning Kenya. In case you are just joining us, karibu tena sana. We are glad that you have chosen to start your morning with us. I am Jane Wamboy. We now want to move on to the second segment of In the Headlines. We just get to have a quick look at what the papers have for us today for different dailies. Remember, we're using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. I start you off with the Daily Nation. Most of the stories are just political, but it covers a pretty good range. Starting with this particular story here on this particular header, take it from me, it is over between Uhuru and Ruto. It is over between Uhuru and Ruto. This is a story that has been covered here on page 7, a one-on-one with Kanini Kega, his take in regards to the relationship between Uhuru and Ruto. And in his own terms, it is over. I'll be giving you details very briefly as to what that particular interview entails. Coming to the main read, breaking the Ruto juggernaut. Now, full force of 30 governors that have been drafted to lead the onslaught, and this is the Azimio La Umoja strategy as per what the team has been planning. So beneath all these beautiful smiles that you see on our president's face and his partner, ODM leader Raila Odinga, here they go on to say it is now or never for Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, and of course their Azimio La Umoja movement, and to signal that they mean business and nothing aside from business, they have deployed heavyweight governors and ministers to counter the William Ruto offensive, which they term as a one-man army. That story has been covered here. It is quite interesting. I'll be giving you more details in a bit. Coming to CBC, here there's a picture of some kids who were just lying on the grass as they were preparing for the assessment this past week. You know, the children were going through their assessment for this particular term as they concluded this academic year. But looking at MPs poking holes in regards to CBC, some MPs and teachers unions have raised fresh concern over the implementation of the CBC, the competency-based curriculum, citing inadequate capacity when it comes to teaching staff, because the government has been going over and beyond to ensure that they are constructing enough classrooms. But on the flip side, how are they facilitating the teaching staff for these particular students? That is a story that has been covered here on the back page of the Daily Nation. Of course, the CS for Education had a bit to say about that, which I'll be letting you know in a bit. Then again, the final story concerning Africa, health-wise, Africa off track to eliminate malaria by 2030, as per that particular news item that we just saw there, featuring our President Uhuru Kenyatta. That is briefly what the front page has for us today. More details coming up in a bit. Victor.
Just before I go to the front page here of the Star newspaper, let me just join it with the political page here, where it says that Raila's Jumbo coalition to be unveiled on 26th of this month. And now it says that ODM chief Raila Odinga's political machine to be unveiled on February 26th after two-day national delegates convention by both Jubilee and ODM parties. They said that Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka and his One Kenya Alliance counterparts will formally team up with Raila. Now, President Kenyatta is at the center of the new political tack as he tries to turn tables against his deputy, that is William Ruto. Raila and Ruto are working on what the insiders term the mother of all coalitions. And here we have got an illustration of political parties supporting Raila presidency. They are 15 in total. We have got Jubilee Party, Party of National Unity, PNU, Democratic Action Party, DAPK. We have got Ubuntu Party Forum, Ubuntu People Forum, I beg your pardon, Kenya United Party, Devolution Empowerment Party. We have got Muungano Party, Maendeleo Chap Chap, National Rainbow Coalition, NAC, Maendeleo Democratic Party. We have got Pamoja African Alliance and United Democratic Movement, that is UDM. We have got UDA, we have got UDM. We have the United Party of Independent Alliance, Economic Freedom Party, and finally Movement for Democracy and Growth Party. 15 of them in total. That is exactly what's on the front page here, where it says that political machine to be unveiled after two-day NDC by Jubilee and ODM President Kenyatta at center of political plan. And of course there we have got a picture of President Kenyatta meeting Abiy, that is Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in Ethiopia during an AU summit. Okay. ICC judge faces hostile witnesses in Gisheru trial. A Hague-based court scheduled 5-day hearing for the case. Now, Gisheru trial in the witness interference case is set to begin on February 15th before ICC judge Miata Maria Samba with James Stewart and Anton Steinberg as prosecutors. Now, but even as the 5-day trial is set to start, at least 4 key witnesses have pulled out at the last minute. Okay. There's a sad story here of an Nakuru father's body being held 4 months later over 5.5 million shillings bail. Mwai, who died because of COVID-19 related complications, died at the age of 72 on October 6, 2021, but his body has been held since then. And the family says that they are not able to take body for a decent burial because the hospital is demanding 5.5 million shillings to offset the medical bill and the mortuary bill as well. And finally, some rival Azimio la Umoja factions battle for Nairobi governor seat. It was a heated part, of course, here in Nairobi over the last weekend. The two groups pour cold water on each other as they hunt for votes in the city, and they say that they are now vouching for that coveted ticket. Raila's stooge in Uhuru plan to stay in power, that's according to Kenya Kwanza. They accused President Kenyatta actually of trying to come back to power through backdoor, quote unquote. And they say they're not going to allow that to happen. And finally, IEBC misses listing target by big margin. So only 902,211 new voters netted out of a target of 4.5 million as at Saturday, as enhanced exercise ended yesterday. So if you did not take your voter's card, let's wait and see what IEBC will do, because as per the law, it should be a continuous process. Doreen?
All right, so let's come to the People's Daily, and we can begin with this heartbreaking story which actually happened in Gilgil, where a victim in murder-suicide tried killing herself before. This is just a story of a woman, 32-year-old woman named Molen Akinyi, who killed, this is her 3 children, and then ended up killing herself. And reports shows that she had tried this before and it failed. Now she actually ended up doing this, and all her children are dead as well as her. And the major reason, as she left behind a 4-page letter, and she documented how frustrating her marriage was and troublesome her marriage was. This is one of the major reasons cited there as the reason as to why she ended up poisoning the minors and also ended up taking her life. This is why we keep saying all the time, if it's not working, then your life is not worth it. It's not that, serious, because now these are just minors who perhaps had a very bright future, but now they are no more. So that happened in Gilgil. And also, again, to that story of voter listing or voter registration, now there are talks that perhaps IEBC could extend that for a further 9 days, since it has been mentioned they weren't able to meet their target of 4.5 million Kenyans on this second phase of voter registration, which began on January 17th and ended yesterday. Again, obviously, we expect a briefing, I think it's today, whereby they're going to update us on how it went, and obviously, again, which counties formed the bigger chunk of those that ended up getting listed or registered as voters, and which counties formed the list and why, and perhaps if they might extend it or not. And also, Mudavadi family in race to State House. This is what the ANC party is insisting, just saying that its leader was firmly in the presidential race, and the pact that they formed, this is, I think, it's about 2 weeks or so, between Ford Kenya and DP's party, that is UDA. Remember that also as of last week, we already said that they really are still in talks on who will carry the day, who will be the flag bearer, but the ANC party insists that their leader is still firmly in the race to State House, that is for the presidential race. So what does it mean for the two principals who form the Kenya Kwanza coalition? Well, time will tell. And away from that, to some bit of education matters, Magoha warns against corporal punishment. This is after that student assault, which happened in Gremon Education Center in Bamburi, that is in Mombasa County, whereby there were reports of beating of that schoolboy, which was done by the school director, because that boy had taken extra chapatis. If you can remember that story that was in the dailies last week and also on mainstream media, and this is why the CS has come to say that corporal punishment is not allowed in school. And he even went ahead to further say that all the students in this particular school need to be transferred to a public school, and the director to be arrested and measures taken because of that assault that happened in that school last week. And to some health stories, alarm over a rise in cancer cases in Kisii County. Remember that every month is at least a cancer awareness month. Last month we talked about cervical cancer awareness month, and February is also that particular month for National Cancer and Prevention just awareness month, to ensure that they get to inform and encourage the general public on its prevention. And this is why we've seen medics and health practitioners come out to say that it's very important for screening, because going by this article, it just shows that there are so many Kenyans who are suffering of cancer without their knowledge. They don't get to know, and this is because a good number of them also don't get to head over for this screening. And in this specific county, that is in Kisii, 3 cancers seem to be most prevalent, key among them being cervical cancer as well as prostate cancer. So when you get to the details, I'll be telling you what the county government in that area is doing to ensure at least they can be able to curb the cases that are highly rising of cancer in Kisii County. And lastly, dealers urged Uhuru to lift ban on scrap metal. This is in Nakuru County, whereby about 2 months, actually it's last month, the president stopped exports and dealings in scrap metals, saying that the dealers in this kind of business ended up destroying public property, public infrastructure for getting of these metals for the different kind of businesses. And this is why the head of state put a ban on this metal. So the traders have decried of layoffs and massive losses, and this is why they're urging the president to lift that ban, saying that there are those who are in this business genuinely and not necessarily having to use public property or public infrastructure. Regina.
I have a copy of the Standard with me this morning, being the 7th of February 2022, and the front page, you bet, is reading like from the scripts that we've already had, matters of politics taking center stage. So the header that we have this morning is why we left Raila to join Ruto. That is according to ANC leader, party leader Musalia Mudavadi. And this was part of a story that we aired for you, so you can also find out more details on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. So ANC leader and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula moved to appease their home base, explaining why they chose Kenya Kwanza over Azimio la Umoja. Now, this comes at a time when Council Musyoka of Wiper comes and says that there is no plan per se. There are no prerequisites for us to join Azimio la Umoja. We'll be keeping tabs on what is happening on the political scene. Remember, quite a day in politics is quite a long time. We'll be looking at that as we proceed this week. So that's the front page. That's a big read on that particular on this particular paper. Then also there is a story here talking about the British, our former colonizers, and this is Britain. So the Queen's 70-year royal journey that started in Kenya. Well, if you didn't know, then you know. 1952 is when Elizabeth became the Queen, and yesterday she became Britain's longest-serving monarch. On social media platforms, there's a story where she says that once Prince Charles ascends to be king, top of the monarch, she proposes that Camilla be referred to as Queen's Consort. Yes, Queen's Consort. So you can go take a trip down memory lane, look at Kenya's history with Britain and such, and what is happening in Britain. That's a story that has been fleshed out for you in this particular daily. Talking about matters of universal health care, and this is a conversation that has hit both mainstream media and social media. The new UHC, rather NHIF, beginning today, we will all be mandated, all Kenyans will be mandated to prescribe to NHIF, so to speak. And I'd want to bring you to speed exactly what that means. So, employed Kenyans to support the unemployed to access health services. This is under President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda, UHC, so to speak. So, its financier will be the National Health Insurance Fund, and this is under the newly signed NHIF Amendment Bill of 2022. So it means that we can, or rather, a majority of Kenyans employed and those who are not employed will be benefiting from this particular outfit. But questions have already been put across and already poking holes on Phase 1, where the government intends to spend 30 billion shillings to enroll the poor on NHIF super cover at a cost of 6,000 per household, with about 1.4 million households covered in the current financial year. The question has been, facilities, are they medically equipped as well as personnel to handle the bulk of patients trickling in and out? Statistics indicate, according to a report, NHIF report by the Association of Kenya Insurers, shows that there are around 17 private insurance companies offering health insurance products with NHIF, and they control a market share of 88.4%, and others are sharing out 11.6%. And that is as per the accounts of, the Kenya National Health accounts of 2015-2016. The issue of these facilities being medically equipped as well as having the human resource to handle that particular move, so to speak. On other stories from the floor of the House, and we'll be keenly focusing on that now, Garissa Township MP Aden Duale is demanding a total disclosure of the multi-billion shilling contract awarded to Chinese funds since Jubilee took power in 2013. If that comes to pass, we'll be keeping tabs on what is happening in Parliament. So that brings a cap to matters in the headlines. So you can get a copy, and just need to know that now with the rollout, it begins today. We're not talking about tomorrow. This is going to, President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be rolling out the universal health coverage that is expected to increase access to health services in the country today. We're going to be keeping tabs on that as questions emerge on, the feasibility of it, given the state of a majority of public hospitals. I'm Gina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead. Remember, if you did not get to watch the AFCON match, well, right after Good Morning Kenya, we're going to have Sports Check, and we're going to be talking about what happened yesterday in Cameroon.
All right, so before we get to all of that, a quick look on how our roads are looking like this morning. And this is the Muthaiga roundabout, which is our focus today, as I mentioned to you earlier. Just tracking the traffic flow in this specific area, given the fact that oftentimes, especially in this early morning hour, you'd be expecting to be seeing heavy kind of traffic. And this is how the area is looking like, just the typical of how you really be expecting it to be looking like, especially as you head over to the city center. But again, also remember, Thika Road just does not serve vehicles that come from this particular estate, but also from the outskirts of Nairobi, obviously counties of Thika, Kiambu, Meru, Embu, the likes, not forgetting the fact that there's also a lot of amenities along this area, or better still along Thika Superhighway, the number of schools, universities as well, businesses, industries, commercial centers. So clearly it's one of those busy areas, and oftentimes this is what leads to that heavy kind of traffic. This is part of what informed the expansion of this route to make it a highway. This is part of also what informed the installation of the various footbridges, and again, this is also what informed that aspect of it being the first road whereby this country is testing the bus rapid transit system. Obviously, there are other roads which have been earmarked for that project, but Thika Road in the country is the first road whereby the BRT is taking shape. So clearly be the first route to just test and see how all that will reduce the traffic congestion on this route. Coming back, the traffic flow, this is still how it is looking like. Nothing is changing here. Still heavy kind of traffic as you head over to the city center, beginning from areas of Utalii College, actually even before there, just as you leave the as you leave the outer ring overpass, as you head over to CBD, still on that particular section or lane, heavy kind of traffic. That is what used to be called the Allsops roundabout, that around this area, that is around the outer ring overpass. This is how it is looking like. In fact, on this entire section, all the way as you head over to the city center, past Utalii, past Muthaiga, as you head over to areas or sections of Muranga Road coming to city center, heavy kind of traffic specific to that lane that is coming to the city center. So that is very much expected, but also because of those reasons that I just gave you earlier, that is also part of why there's heavy kind of traffic on this stretch. So again, if you do not want to make do with that heavy kind of traffic and you're not yet past the outer ring overpass, or if you made the Allsops roundabout, then you can clearly branch off through that particular section, coming to the city center via Juja Road. That area, because along outer ring moving at a very swift pace on both lanes of that entire section. So still on that area, no traffic at all. On the other side, as you leave city center, leaving Gara, leaving areas of Pangani, coming through Thika Superhighway, moving at a very swift pace. So again, if you're coming from those areas that I've mentioned, as well as also areas of Kipande Road and Westlands and Wayaki Way, coming to Thika Road, at least on that section, it's a smooth sailing for you. No traffic at all there. So perhaps what we might need to do is try to look at various other different better alternative routes for you, our viewers, especially for those plying Thika Superhighway this morning.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
Honourable members of Parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Ni watu wachache pekee wanafahamu uzito wa maamuzi kama yako.
Nyinyi, yani mimi nikiwaita nyinyi huwa ni viziwi, msikii au katika jeuri zenu.
Sasa huku umekuja kutafuta nini? Hatukuhitaji hapa. Kijana sikiliza, mimi sizungumzi na wewe.
Sasa utajitenga vipi na watu? Na hapa ndo nyumbani kwako hapa.
Ni heri nikae msituni.
Don't you think his obsession with Mariela is too much? It's not normal. How could you do this to my son?
It was an accident, Elena. Can't believe that you're still talking to him after everything he's done to you. I just said Mariela and I are together now. That isn't crazy, stupid.
What are you talking about, Leonardo?
I'm falling in love with Mariela.
You like her or not?
Yes, I like her. I'm attracted to her. Are you happy now?
Alonso is my boyfriend. And whatever you do, he will never be yours.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
It's a good morning, by the way, all the way from Tana River County, and we're doing our breakfast here with the governor of County 004. Thank you so much.
Karibu kabisa.
Mheshimiwa Dado Godana. Mheshimiwa, first of all, you're a military by profession.
Yes.
Do you miss military?
I really don't miss, but najivunia to have come from there, because that is my stepping stone to where I am.
Yes.
And I can say I was equipped there to serve the way I'm trying to serve.
Yes.
When you hear people say Godana doesn't sleep, it's because I never slept there, because most of the trainings in staff work are done at night. So I acquired that spirit from there. So
you're hardened.
Yeah, I'm hardened. I'm tested and qualified.
Tana River is a very interesting county.
Yes.
It's quite unique in terms of its location.
Karibu breakfast, eh?
Asante sana.
Karibu.
I can see matoke here, and this fish.
No, that's not matoke. That's matoli.
Matoli.
It's a traditional food from Tana River. Yes, matoli.
Let me taste. It looks like matoke.
No, nitakuelezea vizuri.
Okay.
I can see you're struggling how to do it. Let me show you. Matoli inaliwa hivi. See, that way. You hold like this, not like this. You're holding like this.
Oh, okay. So you
hold like this.
Okay.
Yeah, like that.
This is like ugali.
Like this. Then, how is it?
And there is fish. Now we can continue with the program.
That's not fish.
This fish,
no. Red machika.
It looks like fish.
Yeah, machika is a type of fish. Let me see how we are doing it.
Let me see. But just from where we come from.
Now, what we are doing is called kumoda.
Okay.
Kumoda, kwa modani sasa. Kwa modani. You've done it well. Now, kumoda that's the essence of doing it by hand. You're holding a spoon here. Unaribu. Yatakana hivyo unachukua, unaweka na
So this is like the traditional food from this side?
This is the traditional food for this tana. If you put rice there, you put ugali and you put this. You see the way there is mandazi here and matoli.
But this is so nice by there. It's like when you go to that side of Kenya, Nyanza or Western, kuku is a must.
Now, since hapa ndio hii. Now, this is a type of banana that you don't find in Kisii. You don't find in Uganda. Unaona vile ina taste, unaisikia vizuri.
Quite different, delicious.
I don't think it's even there in Meru. It's nowhere else. This type of banana is done. It does well here. This is the type of banana that is major. Because then the rest of them now they come second. But this is the real banana for Tana. If you go to the market, it is a big thing. The big thing. I don't know now how it goes, but some years when I was a small boy, we used to sell one piece at 10 cents.
You know, when you talk of banana and farming, the whole issue of Galana Kulala and food security is part of the national government's agenda.
True.
What about you as a county government?
No, we are part and parcel of the Galana. Last week we were the PS Agriculture to see what the progress of the project. And basically there we are fighting for the community component. Which is critical because we feel that the whole of the design of the scheme has to include the whole infrastructure for our community also. So part of the Galana is also a minor scheme or a scheme for the county. Now talking about the whole thing of agriculture. You know, we have been saying Tana is a food basket, but we've not gotten it right.
It's not visible enough right now.
No, it's not visible enough. So, as a county, we have realized, because the report of FAO does indicate that 60% of the population in Tana is food insecure. Only 40% can be able to support themselves.
Because that's because of the climate.
Yes. That index is current. But if you go back, there's also the story from books that Tana River has never been able to sustain itself with food. And when we came in, we looked at it, and it is true. Today, there's food. With plenty.
Because
tomorrow,
of irrigation.
Tomorrow there's no food. So Tana has always relied so much on the wages. And we understand why that is like that. Is because we have not blown up the whole potential in agriculture. We have always relied on the subsistence practice, which now is becoming unsustainable. So we have taken to other initiatives, like now expansion of minor schemes. The deployment of minor schemes across the country where we feel there is potential. But not just minor, but again taking to climate smart programs. Because if you are to do minor beyond the flooding plain, then it means you have to pump water. Now the use of water pumps again is becoming complex for the people. So now we are solarizing the pumping of water under the climate smart agenda.
Are people embracing other forms of farming right now?
That's now what we're trying to do. We want to move from the reliant on subsistence to other forms, to large scale practices, and modernizing agriculture, adopting to modern technologies. So we have close to 14 new minor schemes that have been initiated by the county government. Some of them have started production. The Plaza Miner is Ochakon. Now Halampia is just next year, which is also about. We have Nyangwani, which is also starting. We have Itoe, we have Odoganda. We have 4 more that we are starting. So that's one of the ways we want to improve or address our food insecurity situation. And we have done land expansion for irrigation scheme. We did around, I think, 1,500 acres expansion. We did Bura expansion. We brought in the farmers back to scheme, and things are working. We have gone into subsidy programs, giving them fertilizer, giving them seeds. But not just food, not seeds for mahindi. We are giving them high value seeds for onions, watermelon, carrots, and all that. So that diversification you're talking about is what we want to go for. Now the whole idea again is not to remain with minor, is eventually, by the way, this is the fins, for the fish. Yes. So I think for you guys in Western and Uko, huwa mnatupa hii.
No.
Huwa mnatupa.
You know, let me also tell you how you do it. You see, for you to know that it's real fish, you have to see it from head to the tail. Hapo ndio utajua ni samaki hiyo. So this one,
ushai separate.
Yes. I've dismantled it. So engine iko kando.
What community are you?
Me?
Yes.
Luo from Home County.
Yeah. You are people of the lakes. And here we are people of the river.
So we are doing good.
Yes.
So we are doing good. The only difference is this. Hapo tunapata ugali sasa nao umejua nao. Hatungekuwa na hii mkutano.
Sasa hii ndio umeexplain. How do you want to do with that?
I'll eat it.
Okay, like me.
Yeah.
Good people. Well, you can even be part of us. You can be a performer.
I told them not go back to Nairobi.
So, what we want to do is now to expand the miners into mini schemes. And then from minis, we join them to major schemes. And that we are working with the Ministry of Agriculture and other partners. For example, how we want to do the mini. The miner was there to make our farmers appreciate dry weather farming and a shift from where they believe in to where they have not appreciated. That's the idea of pulling the miner out of the subsistence area. So now then from there, we have done it through solar, but the mini cannot be done through solar. The mini has to be done through surface water harvesting.
Okay.
So the deployment of dams again becomes critical, which is far much beyond our capacity. So here we brought in national government under the CHASA program to do dams. We've already done 2 dams up in the hinterland.
Which one?
But just there's one in Kesi and there's one in Titila.
Okay.
Those ones is because we want to move from just the normal pasture system into feedlots. That's the idea. But apart from those 2, there are 2 we are deploying around here. So that we harvest water into these dams, and then through these dams we can now water and expand the minor into mini scale.
Because water flow to the upper regions is a problem for irrigation right now.
Which one?
The flow of water for irrigation to the upper side of the Tana River. Most people cannot get water because of how to pump it.
So the solution, the biggest solution for NIB was now to do with the canals. The Nanigi one for gravity, and then the other one they are talking about from Sala that way. But that's long term. That's a big story.
Yeah.
And it's going to be probably very large scale. But we can still utilize surface water for irrigation.
Yeah.
Surface water for feedlots, and also for the rest of the like now what we're going to see, the hydroponic program as part of climate smart farming.
But is this sustainable? Hydroponic system of farming right now?
Yes, I think yes. It is possible for like now for growing of grass and the rest of the crops that can grow under greenhouse.
Yes.
Agriculture.
Okay.
That is now another level we are going. So through the dams, we can now do. We can now go fast line agricultural program.
Yeah.
Like now drip farming, using less water to do more. So
I'm done.
Matoli imeingia.
This thing is delicious, you know. I've never eaten food before, so it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
So basically, that is what on the food security sector we are doing.
Okay.
But we also have identified where to pilot for the minis.
Yes.
We have here, just here, around Hola. That is a Kindoni cluster down. This land is one of the areas we pilot.
Yeah.
We have another area called Boji, across the river. There's already Boji station, minor station. We have already done the piloting with the CDA. So with our other partners, we are going now to move into the expansion of Boji.
Yeah.
And then we are looking at the area of Tarda. Those three are the ones that we are starting as pilots for the mini schemes.
Okay.
With our partners next week.
Okay.
We'll be there to look at the whole area, and so the experts will determine the technology that is required to use there.
Okay.
So that
in terms of food security, you're so sure that the people are food secure.
And not just there, but we are going in now into value addition programs. We have already gazetted the committee for a project we call the Green Hat Project.
Yes.
The Green Hat Project is a pilot for the Green Economic Zone, which is in the Delta. So that's where now we are now starting to do value addition programs for what we have already invested.
It seems you're so passionate about food security. Is that your biggest agenda for the people of Tanzania?
Yes, sir. It's a major program.
Yes.
Because of addressing this prevalent challenge of relief supplies all the time.
Absolutely.
We have seen it as a attempt, because it is documented, that Tana has never been able to sustain itself. So we said that's one of the challenges. And if then a community cannot be able to feed itself, so why think about the rest of the things?
Yeah.
That's the primary thing. People have to be food secure first. Then you move to the next level of health, education, and the rest of the things.
Exactly.
So we have made this one a major problem because we don't want that anymore. We foresee that in the future we will be able to come out of it completely.
Governor, you've come up with this idea of cluster mode of settlement. What is it all about?
The cluster is called Eco Village Cluster Program.
Yes.
The Eco Village Cluster Program basically is speaking to the spirit of departure from a rural to urban. But not just urban, but into modern cities. That's the essence of the eco.
Yeah.
The planning has to be eco-sensitive. Basically, we are using urbanization to leverage on climate change. That's the idea. Climate change, because we have the climate effects issues as a county. We have realized we are a climate sensitive county so much. Looking at wind patterns, the monsoons have done us a big blow on seawater intrusion, on collapsing seawalls, and our shoreline is alluvial, is not the reef like the rest of the counties.
Yes.
So because of high winds, rising seawater levels, from that front, we are affected. The high winds that pass here, of course, they drive the clouds faster to fall in Mount Kenya. So sometimes here it's too dry.
Yeah, left to dry, yes.
Also, apart from that, the flooding also, prevalent flooding has always been a challenge to settlements along the river, even in the hinterland.
Yeah.
When it floods so much, our roads are cut off, and those that are living closer there, they get affected. Some of them will just fall in and die.
Yeah.
So going by the history, we decided that we need to shift completely from the flooding area. So moving people from down there up here, and again in the hinterland, because people now are spread all over, they are overstretching services.
Yeah.
So the idea of the village cluster is to consolidate a number of villages to one place where services now can be made available easily.
Yeah.
That is the idea.
Yes.
But as we do that, we are also trying to define zones. As we do the planning, we realize some of those clusters will emerge to become tourist centers. For example, Mbalambala in the north will emerge to become a tourist city. Asa, because it lies along a wildlife corridor, it will emerge to become a tourist city.
Attraction as a
Garsen is the same.
Yeah.
It will totally change to a tourist city. Waldena here, it will change to a commercial and administrative and a bit of tourist.
Yeah.
This whole town obviously is going to be a major hub for tourism. Why? And I'll explain. Because here we have a lot of tourist heritage facilities, which we have not yet identified, we have not documented properly, we have not developed to be able to bring in that value. For example, here we have the history of the Ola prison, the Ola massacre story, which you know.
Yes.
But there's nothing to show to date. Even national government have nothing to talk about so much.
Yeah.
We know, all of us know the story, but it's not properly documented. It has not been developed properly to be able to attract, to bring out the value of it. That's one. Talk about the national anthem. The national anthem is known. The tone comes from here.
Yes, actually the origin.
Yes, it's the origin. But we just talk about it casually, and that's the end of the story. So, as a county, we have tried to document it. We have now designed infrastructure that can remain as a heritage to generations, that anchors this municipality to national history. So we have come up with what we call the Tower of Anthem.
The Tower of Anthem.
The Tower of Anthem.
Okay.
Which is going to be built here. Apart from the tower, we have what we call the Pillar of Independence. Because this is the Pillar of Independence. That story, when people talk about...
It's one thing that very few people know about.
Yes, yes. Because it's not Kapenguria massacre that brought in independence. It is the Hola massacre, which came earlier than Kapenguria. So it is out of the Hola massacre that the debate to let Kenya free was done in the House of Commons.
Yes.
So that's the beginning of the story.
Yes.
For independence. Now the journey started.
Yes.
To now bring in the Kapenguria massacre and the journey to look for an anthem. So the declaration for Kenya to be was earlier.
Yes.
Then the reorganization of Kenya followed. Then the search for an anthem
came up later.
Then Kapenguria.
Yes.
Then the declaration of the release of Kenyatta, and now. So these dates of Madaraka Day, whatever, they are all somehow chronologically done.
Yes.
From Kapenguria massacre, from Hola massacre to the history of independence.
All right.
So now here we wanted to put something called the Pillar of Independence. Then our Uhuru Park is going to be called the Garden of Anthem. The Garden of Anthem.
Yes.
That's our Uhuru Park.
Yes.
So that's the essence of the village cluster.
Okay. Governor, allow us to take a break as we wash our hands from, you call it, Matoli. All right. Let's take a break. And when we come back,
We are going to talk about the issue of urbanization, which is quite close to your heart, even the politics of Tana River as you go to. So let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Ni watu wachache pekee wanafahamu uzito wa maamuzi kama yako.
Nyinyi! Yaani mimi nikiwaita, nyinyi huwa ni viziwi msikii au katika jeuri zenu.
Sasa huku umekuja kutafuta nini? Hatukuhitaji hapa.
Kijana sikiliza, mimi sizungumzi na wewe.
Sasa utajitenga vipi na watu? Na hapa ndo nyumbani kwako hapa.
Ni heri nikae msituni.
Don't you think his obsession with Mariela is too much? It's not normal. How could you do this to my son?
It was an accident, Elena. Can't believe that you're still talking to him after everything he's done to you. I just said Mariela and I are together now. That is incredibly stupid.
What are you talking about, Leonardo?
We're falling in love with Mariela.
You like her or not?
Yes, I like her. I'm attracted to her. Are you happy now?
Alonso is my boyfriend. And whatever you do, he will never be yours.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
This tastes good. It's tea salad.
Sasa ungetengenezewa chai ya tangawizi hapa.
Sasa mheshimiwa hujasema. Okay. And welcome back. We are still having our breakfast here from the residences of Governor of 004 County of Tana River. Mheshimiwa.
Oh, bwana. Maji kuna mnawisha kwanza, anza na mgeni.
This is how we do it. Thank you so much. That was a nice breakfast. You know, Mheshimiwa, one thing I am able to pick from this side is the issue of urbanization.
Yes.
And from what I understand is that it's quite close to your heart. I don't know how you'll have it done in this period that you're still remaining in office.
Yes.
Urbanization.
Is not something that I can be able to do.
Yes.
In my 10-year term, because you know that I'm doing well.
Yes.
I'm very confident I'm winning this again.
that's full confidence.
So it's not that this thing will end up in 10 years.
Yes.
You know, this is a theory we've taken that takes ages. But at least we will be able to start the journey. When we were picking on urbanization, we knew for sure it's not something that we can achieve in a short time.
It's a long-term project.
Yes. But a journey of so many miles has to begin with somewhere and with somebody. So with this government has started it. And why urbanization? We picked on urbanization because of the story that I've just talked about.
Yes.
The sensitivity to climate change. And again, because we realize that majority of our people in the county are not engaged in business. So the environment for growth in terms of economic growth has been because the environment has never been good enough.
Yeah.
Of course, you know why again that has been happening, because of issues of insecurity. Historically, from our neighbors, we fell a bit of a victim to the challenges of insecurity.
Yes.
So most of our people have been moving out to do business elsewhere. So the idea is, how do we now, and the poverty, of course, the poverty is growing higher. With the climate challenges, always the poverty index is pushed higher every time. So we said, how now do we address all this? And again, how do we create an environment where people can do business?
Yes.
Can engage in business
at home
instead
of going out there.
Yes, instead of going out there. How do we attract other people to come and do business in Tana? And how do we attract investors to come in? The whole idea, of course, the essence of devolution is for counties to be the hubs for economic growth for the country.
And they say to bring services closer to the people.
Exactly. So that's why we picked on it. And we said we'll walk the journey slowly.
Yes.
But I foresee that national government will come at one point because everyone has appreciated the idea.
Yeah.
The former Waziri for Devolution, Eugene Omala, was here, and he said that this is what the whole country should adopt. Then came Baba.
Yes.
Baba was here, and Baba even gave us a big story of China. No, it's not China. Of Korea. How Korea overtook Kenya. To be where they are now. They borrowed a leaf. No, they had the idea. They didn't have money. They came to Kenya.
Borrowed a leaf. So what's happening?
Took money. They borrowed. They borrowed money.
Korea borrowed money from Kenya.
Yeah, there are so many countries that borrowed money from Kenya. And then today, Korea is a first world economy. Korea.
Okay.
So Baba gave us a long story of how Korea became what it is. He gave us other examples of other countries. I think China. He gave us an example
Singapore.
Singapore.
Yes.
He gave us a lot of stories. He said, I foresee Tana emerging as a big economy in the near future. So what I foresee in the future is that we have to open up roads between one cluster to another.
Yes.
One small city to another. So the entire infrastructure, of course, out of the spatial planning that we're going to do, now those other, it will define those linkages of roads infrastructure across the county. And now, as we speak, when we started this thing, UN Habitat came in and took us as a pilot of urbanization in the country. Because this is the only county that has taken that as a model for growth. So we have now partnered with UN Habitat. We have here with us UNEP. We have here UNDP. We have here FAO on the agriculture part. We are also a sister city to Gothenburg municipality in Sweden. So they are also our partners here. We have national museums, our partners here. We have now Minister of Lands for the planning of the whole county. So we are now from this. They are already here, the partners, because according to the schedule of activities, from January is when we are starting now the spatial planning for the municipality of Hola, for the county, and for the maritime. So all those three spatial plans now, we have already started the processes. We are at the primary stage of data collection. and then the rest of the story now continues. So it's not a story anymore. No.
It's now on the move.
It's action on the move. As we speak.
Yes.
For example, on the service administration service delivery part, we have already completed the ward administrator's office in Kipini.
Yes.
Kipini ward. It's called Kipini East Ward. We have already finished the sub-county headquarter offices in Madogo. We have done the Handampia cluster for the Mikindunu ward offices.
Yeah.
It's already there. We have completed the Gasen North ward offices. We are now doing Kipini East ward, and we are doing Diram, that is Chewele ward.
Yes.
And Oldena, and Mahono for Chewali ward. So already,
and all these are running concurrently.
All of them are running concurrently. As we do that,
yes,
we are also bringing in now the hospitals. We have hospitals, we call them the mini hospital program, because we thought that for the services for the people to move in,
yes,
the services have to be there. So that's why we are putting the ward administrator's offices.
Yeah.
Now we are bringing in the hospitals. Already we have 5 containers at the port. These are hospitals that are coming to be prefabricated hospitals.
Yeah.
They come in, we just tie them up. Within a day, they are up. By the following day, solar, everything
exactly
is up and running.
But Mheshimiwa, just to cut you short, it seems like you have a very grand plan, and all these things recommend. In terms of the county allocation, what is your county revenue allocation and collection?
It's 5.7 billion. That's what we get
from the national government.
From the national government,
right?
That's the equitable share. The rest is a piece of grants, and then we have moved our allocation from 27 million to now 76 million from the time we came in. So, in terms of our local revenue, we have moved there.
Yes.
But we are opening up more revenue sources. So we believe that, I think by next year, this year actually, this year we will see what will go to.
Yeah.
But possibly we'll hit the 150 million mark.
By the end of this year?
Yes, we'll be able to hit the 150 million mark. I believe so. Once we, of course, we have now automated revenue collection, and now we want to integrate all that. So we believe with all those interventions, we'll shoot our revenue collection target higher. So I know you are trying to imagine that probably that we are going for a big thing that we can't manage.
Yes, that's what
we are managing. What I'm telling you is that we are already managing.
Yes,
because it is us who are doing the roads in the clusters.
Okay.
It is us who are doing water. We have already bought in rigs.
Yes.
So we are sinking our own boreholes. In some areas we are getting it at 250 liters. In some areas 180. In some areas 80. In some areas we have fresh water. In some areas salty water.
Yeah.
But we have the technologies to convert salty water to
the purification processes.
Yeah, we have all those.
Yeah.
And that is what we are saying, that some of the challenges in Tana can be solved through innovative ideas and modern technologies.
Is that why the reason why you've been nominated for so many awards, the innovation, technology? It's like every year you have an award to bring back home.
Yes, I can say that. I'm a thinker. I sit and think a lot.
Yes.
I sit and write a lot. I spend my nights writing, reading books,
yes,
looking at things, developing concepts, trying to look at ABC and see which is the best way, how is the best way to go. So most of what I'm talking about here are things that I have sat to write myself.
For the benefit of Tana River.
Yes, yeah. So it's more of a hobby to me.
Yeah.
It is, Tana River has been something that has challenged me from when I was a young man. So I always sit there, think, about Tana, spend my time looking at other people, comparing with at home.
Yeah.
I have spent my time to do this, and true to the fact.
Yeah.
To your question, is it why you have? Yes, because immediately I came in, some few days, I was recognized for a doctorate degree in public administration, which I with the London Graduate School, and I went to Dubai for the graduation. Then a year later, I was called to Ghana to go again for another doctorate degree. Then I was called to Ghana a third time. This time for executive leadership and management. This is an African award. It's an African award. But again, Africa, in collaboration with University, Stratford University in the UK. So I already have 3 doctorate degrees in different fields. And just the other day I was surprised to see in my mail that I have been picked again for another, not doctorate this time, just award, an award. An award for transformation and innovation.
Okay.
And I'm happy if people are appreciating what I do.
And
it's important. Then one time there was somebody who called and from the US.
Yes.
A professor of sociology and I think legal affairs. She's called Jean Hesimega. Jean Hesimega lived here in Ghana some years, and he was keen to look at how Tana will actually transform. She lived during those dark days.
Yes.
But she went home there and continued, but he continued with having the passion to be following up on what is going in Tana. I was surprised to learn that Jean Hesimega has been following my story from when I was MP. And she's followed it until I lost. So we've been discussing on my approach to addressing some of these challenges.
Yeah.
Jean was so concerned about the widening difference between the Pokomo, the Orma, and the rest of the communities in Tana. So she was approaching it from not much of a security approach, but from a sociological approach, I think, and legal bit of it. So she was impressed by the kind of transformation that Tana, the progress we are making as a county. I think I've tried to address most of the challenges, the conflicts now. We have done 5 years without having any conflict in the county.
Which is quite tremendous, because initially it used to be quite a volatile area.
Yes.
Right now it's quite peaceful. Because of time, I really want to go very quickly into the issue of politics and again the issue of pending bills. Most counties are still struggling with the issue of pending bills.
Yes.
What's your position right now as a county?
We are now just around 100 million to wind the historical pending bills.
Right.
Eligible and a bit of ineligible pending bills. And also addressing payment of bills that we have incurred ourselves from 2018 to date. We are confident that we'll be able to finish the historical pending bills by April. Comfortably. If cash flows from the control of budget stream in as required, Tana will be able to move out of the historical pending bills by April. And then we'll start the other journey of clearing the rest of it. We believe we clear all the bills.
Yes.
We start here as a government, we reduced our expenditures.
Absolutely.
So that then we address bills.
Yeah.
And the supplementary budget is out. So we are confident that because imetusumbua hata sisi. Sana imetusumbua. So we are clearing that. of course we started early, not like other counties.
Yes.
Other counties refused to pay the debts of their predecessors. As we said, it's our debt.
What did you borrow from the previous regime? How much was it?
In total, about 2.1 billion. That's a whole financial.
Yeah.
That's a whole budget of development for one financial year.
Yes.
So in essence, we are saying the former has actually done 2 terms.
Ouch! That's a painful one to the last one. That's a painful one.
Yeah, they've already done 2 terms.
So
if he comes here to vie again, he's actually taking another 1 term. 3 terms.
How? 2 terms.
That's why we are saying we don't need him. We don't need him. He has already done 2 terms.
Okay.
He has done 2 terms.
I'm quite interested in knowing and to understand how do you manage the issues of the labor force, because rarely do we hear cases of a strike of doctors in Tana River, teachers, ECD teachers, and what have you. How do you manage them? Because most counties delay to pay their salaries to the staff, and when you look at your revenue allocation, the collection is not as high as compared to other counties.
My friend, I've been in management. Where I come from, you know.
Yes.
That one of the things that is very critical to any employee is salary. There's no way you can talk about having a workforce and a motivated workforce to do work for you if salary is not primary.
Very true.
So in Tana, we have made salary primary. We have started from the word go we came in to pay our salaries before month end. Latest we've been paying on 27th. There are times we have even salaries ready by 25th, 23rd. We have Mushahara.
So by clock of end month you have your money?
People have the money. I'm surprised to hear in other counties people have not been paid for 4 months. 4 months? Then what is management? What is this workforce you are trying to, what do they want them to do? So us, there we have succeeded.
What are you doing different?
Then we have improved on other programs. You know, when we came in, people never used to save. Watu walikula everything. So walikuwa wanaambia watu mtu akipata mbao anakula, chuma anakula, nyasi ndio huyu, nini what. They ate everything.
Is that why county government?
The staff in the county had no insurance. They had no medical cover.
Right now?
Oh no, they have. And they have medical cover. Watu wetu wako kwa medical cover. Some of them hapa sasa promotions. Now we are promoting them. We're promoting. Some have changed job groups. Some of them have been. Sasa mambo inakuwa nzuri. Yeah. So and then we have designed our system such that people are promotable. People can grow in the service
depending on merit.
Yes. We have taken our people for many causes, including exposure tours abroad. Almost, I can say probably, if not a half, probably a third of this government have gone out of the country. As we speak, we have how many? Is it 28 or 30 of our BMU staff?
Yes.
Training in Kipini on safety and security in the sea, so that at the end of the day they get certificates, then they can be able to operate in the sea, an area that has never been covered before. In fact, most people never knew that Tana has a shoreline that is longer than any other county.
Interesting.
Yes.
I think next time
we have a 72-kilometer stretch of beachline. That's Tana. From the border of Lamu to the border of Kilifi, the whole of that stretch is Tana. So we have a huge sea with the highest potential in fisheries.
Yes. Governor, this is the year that people have been looking for, 2022, and I know you must be busy right now towards election. But then let me ask you.
Yes.
This county is quite unique in its time, in form of its formation.
Yes.
The county assembly, you're a member of ODM.
Yes.
The MCs who have the county assembly do not belong to the same party. Yes. All of them mix and match. That's unique. You must be having a lot of headache in legislation processing in the assembly.
Oh yes, that's true. We have come from, and I think we are still there. We have not changed so much.
Yes.
This election will speak to where we are now.
Yeah.
But we come from a highly ethnic, politicized county.
Yes.
Where each community votes their own.
Not the party.
Not the party. Not the party.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is...
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
So, when it comes to elections, immediately somebody is nominated by the council, because we have our own nomination. We don't wait for the party. We have our own nomination to declare who becomes MCA, who becomes MP.
In the villages?
Yeah, we do it here. It is done by our council of elders. So when somebody is nominated by the council, some people don't even wait to be told, this is your daddy. Even before they are nominated, they are already in parties. So by the time we come to now the general election, we have all parties of this country.
So it's a formality.
Everyone is in his own party. So here you will see Ford Kenya, Ford Asili, Tip, Jubilee, ODM, NAK Kenya, Sijui Nini, Green Party.
Yes.
Eddie Tana has a diversified way of...
Just to explain to our viewers, in Tana River, how many MCs do you have?
23.
You have 23
15
MCs.
elected.
Yes.
And then the rest nominated.
Okay, just to make it so simple to the viewers out there, in Tana River County, all the MCs in the county assembly come from different parties. There's no dominant party in that assembly.
No, not really dominant party. I think maybe a bit of Jubilee is their majority.
Yes.
But all colors. It's an assembly of all colors.
Right.
I'm the only ODM. Much as I'm the governor.
You're the only ODM.
I'm the only ODM person in Tana.
You don't have an MCA in ODM?
Not even a single one, not even the speaker. The speaker was an ODM aspirant for senatorial seat. When he lost, then we ganged up and said, let us have him as our speaker. And I'm even told today he's now the deputy president of, which is his party? The party of the former President Kibaki.
Yes, NAK.
The son of former President Kibaki, I think he has a party.
Kanu.
No, he's not Kanu. Former President Kibaki is not Moi. Kibaki, his son, has a...
Okay.
Jimmy has
Jimmy. Yes.
Jimmy has a small party. The deputy president. He's my speaker. He's my speaker. Already you can imagine, we have not gone anywhere. Already we have a deputy president.
Or a different party.
Or a different party.
Serving in your county.
Serving in my county.
What does that tell you?
I don't know what to call, but I think it's part of the political immaturity that we can talk about.
Yes.
In this country. So, and most of them were my role. I sponsored them to be in politics. I even gave them money for nomination.
Yes.
For the not for nomination, but for registration. But as much as gave them the money, they went to other parties. So we have worked well so far, I can say, somehow, but I cannot say that we had control of that assembly as a governor for them to really stand by the governor to drive the agenda of the government. Not as much.
Yeah.
Because they belong to their own bosses.
Does that really curtail in terms of, processing of the legislations in the assembly?
Yes, of course, obviously.
Yeah.
Because then when it comes to engaging with them, we really don't have an upper hand.
Yeah.
Is what they decide. If they decide they do, yes. If they decide they don't do, they don't do.
Yeah.
Like now, there are so many things they have not done. Yeah, very critical to the people of Tana. There are those that they have delayed so much until probably they felt, let us now do this one.
Yes.
So it's a big challenge. It's a very big challenge, and we don't know how things happen now as we go to August this year.
Elections.
Yes.
Okay. You're optimistic you're going to get another term?
Yes, why not? I have done well. The people know that I have done well. From what I have said, or what I've said.
Yes.
You also know that I have done well. Okay. So...
I want to give you a scale of 1 to 100.
Yes.
Be generous enough and gauge yourself.
70%. 70%. No, not do. I'm not too. I'm. You know, it all begins with the vision. There's no way you can make any leader anything in this life if you don't have the right vision. So, where I stand,
yes,
we have gotten it right on the vision, and we have gotten it right on what we need to do.
Yeah,
and we are already doing. So it is obvious that where we are heading is the right way, is the right direction. So I'm saying that from my own look of things, I have done 70%. Much as we've not done everything,
yes,
but we've started. Actually, on all the fronts, we are doing well.
As we come to a close, what do you think other counties can come and learn from Tana River? As your closing remark, what can they come and start to do a benchmark from Tana River County?
One is this model of the clustering is a very, according to me, is a very important model for rest of the Kenyans to come and benchmark.
Yes,
very important, because it is out of the same that most of now the other sectors are anchored. If we say the agriculture, for example, it is one mini that becomes the cluster becomes an association or a cooperative, and then the land adjacent to them become now their irrigation schemes. So it's a model that other people can look at and say they want to emulate, they want to replicate in the rest of the counties. It addresses most of the challenges. The CRA, Commission for Revenue Allocation, they were here and they were looking at counties to benchmark on the successes of devolution. And you know the essence of devolution is to effect social and economic transformation. So when they looked around the whole country, they picked on Tana as one of the counties to document as a success story in effecting social and economic transformation. So it addresses so many other things if we succeed, and we will succeed. So that's one of the things, including insecurity. If Northeastern goes this direction, and we have those people pulling together, clans living in one estate, what do you think the effect will be on insecurity? If Turkana, which is affected with the same, moves in that way, people will be more integrated, more socially connected, and they wear down the rest of the radical values that have always been there. So I think it's something that every other county, I don't say Nairobi, maybe Nairobi is different, but those counties that look like us, those that have not gone far to spoil most of the things, I think they can come and copy from Tana and replicate in their counties.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Matoli.
We've enjoyed Matoli. I've enjoyed this discussion. Thank you for the breakfast. Perhaps we just look forward to another interview with you again. Come 9th of August, we wish you all the best. That's what we can always do. And to the people of Tana River, if you have a chance to make your own choice, politically speaking. Okay, so that's where we say thank you so much for the breakfast.
Yes.
And thank you for talking to us. You've been watching Good Morning Kenya live from Tana River County, County 004 with Governor Dado Kitana. Now, we're taking a break. We're not yet done. When we come back, still more to come after this break. My name is Victor Lo from Tana River. Stick around.
And from that informative conversation there with Victor Olo, who was in Tana River County, we now want to take a quick look on how our roads are looking like this morning. And since early this morning, this has been our focus. This is the Muthaiga Square, or if you may, the Muthaiga roundabout. And majorly why we were just looking at this particular stretch this morning is simply because of that BRT taking shape. Like I mentioned to you earlier, this is actually the first road in the country whereby that new system is being tried. So it's still in the formative stages. A lot is still happening, expected to cut through sections of Haile Selassie all the way up until Kenyatta National Hospital. Obviously, also various other roads have been earmarked for this project or this process, key among them being Outer Ring Road as well as Ngong Road and also various other roads. So this is why this morning we're just looking at the traffic flow on this particular stretch, try to see how all these activities perhaps is impacting or affecting traffic flow altogether, and also trying to look at how the different various other 4 footbridges that have been installed in addition to the already 18 existing ones on this route, how all this is changing, how Thika Superhighway is looking like, and how all this is impacting or even affecting traffic flow altogether. Now, this is how it was earlier on. That was around 7 a.m. Still is the same as how it was. Still heavy kind of traffic on that particular area, which is our focus this morning. That is around the Muthaiga Square, as I mentioned to you earlier. And this begins, actually not begins, because right now things have just changed a bit. Earlier on it was from areas of the Outer Ring Overpass, or if you may, what used to be called the Allsops roundabout. The traffic was beginning from that section coming all the way to the city center, but at least as of now it's opening up a bit, especially as you come to the CBD. So where traffic begins to really build up is around areas of KCA University, past that section coming through Utalii College, up until our area of focus this morning, which is the Muthaiga roundabout. So again, if you are not yet past the Outer Ring Overpass, you can clearly still use Outer Ring Road as your alternative route. If you are past that area, then the other alternative route that you can use, if at all you're coming to the city center, because again also around Muranga Road coming to city center via Globe roundabout, sections of Fig Tree, still heavy kind of traffic on that section. So you can also use the Pangani intersection. This is as you head over to the city center. So this is how that area is looking like. Not bad at all. In fact, on both lanes of this particular stretch, moving at a very swift pace, no traffic throughout that entire section, but also around this area, which as you branch off through Juja Road, because again, if you intend to use Pangani intersection, that simply means that you'll also come through the stretch of Juja Road. Again, we've not really been seeing a lot of road works or road activities on this stretch, and this is perhaps why there's barely any kind of heavy traffic in the early morning hours. So again, you can also use that as your alternative route. But if you are past the Outer Ring Overpass, if you're past the Pangani intersection, then again, that simply means that you'll have to make do with the traffic on the section of Muranga Road. This is just before you reach the Globe roundabout. But also again, I can tell you for sure that at least in this entire highway, traffic police are oftentimes stationed up and early to try and see how best they can control traffic, because it's one of those busy roads. Aside from the fact that there's still a lot of ongoing road works in terms of that BRT, like I mentioned to you earlier, it's still one of those busy roads in terms of it being a commercial center. Obviously, a lot of companies, industries, also schools around this particular stretch. So again, you can just come through this area if you do not want to make with that heavy traffic. That is areas of Pangani section as well as the Outer Ring Overpass. But if you're past those two areas, then it simply means if at all you're coming to the city center, then you might just have to make with that traffic. But if you're leaving areas of Kipande Road, Westlands, Wayaki Way, coming through Thika Superhighway, actually throughout that entire lane, just as you leave the Globe roundabout, no traffic at all, moving at a very swift pace. But also this is what we really expect in this early morning hour. Oftentimes on major roads, could be minor roads, could be slip roads, if at all you are leaving areas of city center, going through the estates, you really do not expect to be seeing or spotting any heavy kind of traffic, because there's no activities unless there's a road construction on most of those roads. So that is how it is looking like this morning in terms of traffic. But again, remember, Thika Road still remains a key area and road of focus up until we see the completion of that bus rapid transit system and how all that is expected to transform how Thika Super Highway is going to be looking like altogether. But now that is how it's looking like in terms of traffic at exactly 36 minutes past 8 a.m. But Good Morning Kenya is not yet done. Genuine Boy is coming in next with a very interesting conversation. Marriage, love and finances. Stay tuned for that conversation.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Ni watu wachache pekee wanafahamu uzito wa maamuzi kama yako.
Nyinyi! Yaani mimi nikiwaita, nyinyi huwa ni viziwi hamsikii au katika jeuri zenu.
Sasa huku umekuja kutafuta nini? Hatukuhitaji hapa.
Kijana sikiliza, mimi sizungumzi na wewe.
Sasa utajitenga vipi na watu? Na hapa ndo nyumbani kwako hapa.
Ni heri nikae msituni.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Don't you think his obsession with Mariela is too much? It's not normal. How could you do this to my son?
It was an accident, Elena. Can't believe that you're still talking to him after everything he's done to you. I just said Mariela and I are together now. That is incredibly stupid.
What are you talking about, Leonardo?
We're falling in love with Mariela.
You like her or not?
Yes, I like her. I'm attracted to her. Are you happy now?
Alonso is my boyfriend. And whatever you do, he will never be yours.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
All right, nilikuwa napatilishiwa kashai kagu. It is morning. We need to hydrate. We need to have our tea also. But welcome. Thank you so much for staying with us. We do appreciate that you continue to stay with us here on Good Morning Kenya. But in case you are just joining us, I am Jade Wamboy and would absolutely love to know where you are watching us from this morning. So feel free, check in, use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1 across all the social media platforms. My handle is at Jane Wamboi. So from politics to the roads, we now move to our family check segment. And today, as mentioned earlier, we are going to be continuing with the conversation that we started last week. Marriage, love and finances. Of course, love is in and we got but we'll particularly be looking at how we tie finances and marriage. Just see how you and I can build a financially happy marriage. And whatever this goes by there to whatever term you choose to use to refer to your engagement, whether any situation, whether it's an engagement, whether it's unknown, whatever you choose to go by, we welcome you to be part of this conversation. So if you have questions or comments, or you're just seeking clarification, feel free to use the aforementioned social media handles. So today, my panel still is with me. We have a couple and a professional to speak from, you know, the professional side of the divide. That is Anastasia Kihuaga. She is a marriage and family counselor. Good morning, Anastasia. Thank you for being with us. Good morning to you, Wamboi. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Now, today we have a different couple. We have Duncan Juma. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Karibu sana to the program.
Asante sana.
All right, and we also have Kendi Juma. Good morning.
Good morning, Wamboi.
Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you.
We do hope after this conversation that tutaenda kupigana off air. All right, but let me start with you, Kendi. You know, our upbringing plays a huge role in who we grow up to be. So looking at finances and marriage, how would you say, you know, growing up, the money behaviors that you have right now, how did your upbringing play in that? What role did it play in the way you handle money in this day and time?
I think a lot.
Yes.
One, there are things I had to unlearn because growing up we never used to talk about money. And at times you didn't know that maybe your parents are going through a hard time.
Yes.
So when you get married and you realize for you to have a good marriage, you need to learn how to talk about some of these things. It wasn't easy, you know. Small things like you're not supposed to disclose how much you earn, you know, but this is the person I'm supposed to live with for the rest of my life. So for me, I think there are things I've had to learn and also unlearn as far as marriage is concerned. But it's played a lot. We bring a lot of baggage from our families into our marriages.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd also like to hear the same, you know, from you, Duncan, looking at your upbringing in relation to your money habits in the institution of marriage right now.
Well, I think growing up, I didn't see a lot of money around me. So when you interact with money, you start maybe getting some level of money. At some level, it can even confuse you.
Culture shock.
I remember moving house just because my pay rise went up with 10,000 shillings, you know. So because we didn't know much.
You moved the whole house.
No, like I realized after I got a pay rise that my neighbors can easily steal my shirts on the line. So, so bad financial decisions are that because I wasn't used to some level of money, you know. So, but then now translating that into marriage and all that, now you also have to factor in that your spending is being monitored by your spouse and she's maybe using that to gauge as to whether you are a prudent father or not, you know. So in essence then, how we were brought up, there was very little money around me. We would hear a lot of enda msome, you know, we are nimejinyima niku, you know. So because of that, then at some point you find some money and then you also learn on the job, because sometimes you're just told soma, work hard, get a job, you'll get money, but you're never told how that money behaves, how you can either increase or reduce it, you know. So growing up, very little, I would say, maybe just bad habits around spending, but also for us, where I come from, we settle for very less, you know. I mean, we are happy with little, and which is, I think, a good thing if you think about it. But on the other hand, when you want to create wealth for either your generation and all, it's a totally new conversation on how you're supposed to either sacrifice now or leave your children dead so that they remember you, you know. So there are all those things you must, you know.
Leave your children dead so that they remember
you know, so there are decisions to make, yeah.
All right. Now, Anastasia, you know, I know we touched on this last week, but for the benefit of our viewer, why is it important to understand your partner's upbringing with money, to understand how they even behave with money in this day and time? Like, looking at growing up, did they have money or were they non-moneyed? Why is it important to understand that?
Yes, thank you very much. This is a wonderful conversation. Love, money, and finances. I want to say that one thing, a family is a system, and it shapes who we are. Our background can bring a backlash in our life, or can either bring success in our life. And as Kedia has said, our family system, they shape who we are in terms of our belief system, in terms of our mindset. Like we see the people who grow up with a poverty mindset. And by a poverty mindset, this is what I mean. Because you grew up like Juma and many others without seeing money, you can develop, allowed you, a mindset of poverty, because a family system, it shapes our belief system, it shapes our habits, and it also builds our character.
Yes.
So we become who we are based on where we are born and brought up. However, it is a decision that an individual makes to either reform, and reform, it is like changing the habit for the moment to fit the circumstances. But I go for transformation, whereby there is a change of a mindset. I grew up in poverty, I grew up with a lot of lack, but I'm changing my mindset to attracting what is called money or finances, or shaping myself to become either.
But that's not easy. That is, I think it's a whole mindset shift. That's not something that you can just wake up and decide.
Yes.
How do you go about that? And especially looking at the fact that there's a whole other human being right here, that you have to do this with them.
With them.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that question. By mindset, this is what I mean. You have to start with yourself first. It is very hard, as you've said, to change yourself and to change somebody else. And therefore, I encourage us from a personal perspective, whereby you decide that I am going to change my mindset. I was born and brought up in poverty. I was born and brought up in violence, whereby every time during the Edma, there was a fight because maybe your dad or somebody misbehaved, allowed money, and there was fight, and sometimes there was violence because there is that commotion whereby the conflicts arises when there is money. It is because of where they were coming from, our parents. Their mindset of poverty, you want to hold these, or you want to misbehave with money, and therefore it comes to an individual. Myself, this is what I want to do with money, and therefore I need to transform my mind. If you don't transform your mind to become a successful mindset, this is what happened, Wamboi. You will always be lagging behind because you don't believe, one, you can be successful. You are still lagging in failures, and maybe you can also misbehave around money because you want to prove something to the society. I want to say this, that there is nothing that we have to prove to the society. You need to transform, to be transformed from within. And remember, when you're transformed, we call it the interpersonal, you also develop intrapersonal. When you yourself, you're okay in handling money, deciding aloud money, in budgeting, in being responsible, being accountable, you as individual, when you bring somebody else, you will plan along that ride. But if all of you have, and then money also develops within the personality of an individual. We also need to develop our personality. That is something that we are never taught. And we also need to develop a good attitude towards money.
Okay, so let me come to you, Juma. Duncan, you're both Juma. So we'll go on first name basis for the purpose of this conversation. You know, borrowing from what Anastasia is saying, you know, understanding yourself as an individual and looking at you now, speaking as a man, because we live in a time, and, you know, culturally so, the man is the head of the family. And in most situations, you find the man could be in charge of the finances, but they could also be having their own struggles when it comes to finances. Either they are spendthrifts or they are misers. And for some, it's hard to strike a balance. Understanding your money habits as a man in line with being the provider, and mostly the provider of that particular institution. Family.
Okay, well, first of all, there are things Anastasia say that I agree with. Yes. Some I don't, but we are here. She will say she's the expert. One, the world is always, from a marriage standpoint, the world is always rigged against the man in that conversation. When I took my wife home, they were not asking what job she does. They were asking how does she look? Did he pick right? Like they were looking at her, will her children struggle in school based on her face and stuff like that. When we went to her home, her relatives were asking, what does he do? And they say it right that, and I'm saying this politely, say, let me skip that thought. It might cause me trouble. But they say pets and ladies are the only ones who have capacity to be loved unconditionally. So you'll hear a lady say, I want a man who has money, I want a man who drives a car, then say, and loves me unconditionally. Like it's very oxymoronic. But the point here is then for a man, you must bring something on the table for you to be, to be considered anything. And things like man is the head of the family. Practically speaking, as a man, any name you're given in the family has a responsibility and has money to it. So I discovered that I'm just a member of my family. This thing of head of the family, sometimes it's too expensive, but I'm just a member of the family and I provide for my family. But so the conversation around money, essentially as a man, when you're told you are a provider, your wife, from a love standpoint, your wife wants to be with you almost every time, but she still wants you to go and fend out, put your nose out there, be hit by lightning as you... But, so the balance then is that you must have conversation around then how does this money work for all of us?
Yes.
I also discuss, it is common knowledge in the men's circles or men's conference that the ladies' money has an interesting twist to it. So the best thing you can do is you can get it at 0 interest and elongated repayment period, but rarely you'll always hear her say, nimekuchukulia pesa ya chama. You're like, their money always has an attachment to it, and so you must pay the price. So the dynamics have to be that the two of you, best from a love standpoint, usually the woman comes on the table seeing, can this man fund my future projects? Can she fund my dreams? And then she accepts you. In fact, they say, when a lady says she loves you, momentarily she's saying, I like what you're doing to me now or for me now. If that changes the next minute, she can tell you, I hate you. So the conversation around money is intricate in that sense. But as a man, you have a responsibility to those who are called to your name, so to say.
Yes.
So work hard, do your best. Sometimes even your best will not bring money and that will cause you trouble, but who knows? I think there's a musician who says, God has a day for you, so keep going. And that's really what I'm saying, that the money conversation around the man is, men are really strained for lack of having prior conversation on how that context will look like.
All right.
Talking about even personality that Nastasia alluded to, I'm a happy soul. If I didn't get my wife, Kendi, I don't think my children would have an inheritance, because for me, I'm like, someone has a problem that is bigger than rent. Why can't I give her my rent money or him my rent money and sort out... There's a day my house was locked because I delayed to pay rent before I got married, that is. Now I can't dare.
Good to hear, Kendi, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, but then Kendi found out, I think we were dating. Then she asked me, what lesson have you learned? I don't know, I've realized if your house gets locked, you don't die. Like, which is so... Money conversation must be on the table. It's a very intricate conversation. And I think if you get it right there, there's a sense in which even your love flourishes.
Now, there's always also this conversation around men that, women, we have a biological clock and men have a financial clock to work to us. Do you agree with that?
I agree. Every man, when they say, I'm dating this man for 20 years and he's not committing, it's because his finances, he's looking at the dream you have as a woman and looks at his effort and his reward mechanism, and they're not adding up. So he can't commit. You're the one eating... maybe let's say some expensive meal, and the guy, you know very well his monies are not aligned. So he just realizes this is a struggle. Ever wondered why you love each other and you still sign some paper to say through thick and thin? Or till death do us part? I had a joke that till death could mean someone else. Anyway, but the conversation is that it is true.
Yes.
When a man wants... That's why they say ladies mature faster than us. But because really, you can come on the table just because you're beautiful and we accept you, and whether you'll add anything, it's immaterial. But for a man, you can't come and say, me, I'm the hottest guy. It doesn't work like that, you know.
This question that men go around, what are you bringing to the table?
What are you bringing to the table? The man is the one who has...
Let me come to you, Kendi. You know, understanding your personality individually before you get into the institution of marriage or a committed relationship. What did that look like for you, if you are comfortable sharing that?
I think for
or
me,
rather how that shifted once you got into marriage.
I'm an introvert, he's an extrovert, like 100%. I'm a planner, he's not. So I think when we got married, we did the personality test before, but it didn't make sense until when we started living together, when you got married. And you realize some of those things could be a source of conflict.
Yes.
You know, like how he spends, like how you say, like he would see, like Juma has a very big heart. Kabisa, you know. But you see now for me, things need to make sense.
Yes.
If we're talking about rent, where is the rent? Before you start giving out money. We did another personality test, which like also helped me understand my spending habits and his spending habits.
Yes.
And just even, there's a question you asked about maybe if the husband is a provider. I mean, he's a provider, but maybe he doesn't have a strength in planning. And in our society, we believe, say the husband has to do this, he has to do this, he has to plan. But you know, I think these days, you can both agree. If the wife is a good planner, she can be the one who is doing the budget, and you both bring your resources together.
So it's not about following this template that society has put out.
No.
Traditionally, man, woman, he give everything to man, then he plans.
No. I think understanding your personality, your strengths as a couple. I like planning, I like budgeting, I'm the kind of person who go to a supermarket, I have my list and all. He's not that kind of person. Juma anaweza toka na TV na alikuwa anaendea maziwa. Yeah, but just understanding what your strengths are and supporting each other. I believe marriage is about you two agreeing on issues. You know, don't go with the template that society has, but the two of you can agree what works for the two of you. But for us, personality really helped a lot. And we're able to say, maybe Kendi, you can do the planning. Juma can, if it comes to looking for stuff now, because for me being a planner, at times I'll take a while. I have to be very sure about my decision. But he's the kind of person who'll be like, let's go for this. So you both need to understand your personalities as far as finances are concerned.
You both need to understand your personalities as far as finances are concerned, because that is the other area most couples struggle. You hear from, I've had so many couples say, hey, our first 7 years, we started getting along when it comes to money, the 9th year of marriage, because all along we're always arguing, uyu anapenda kuspend, mimi sipendi, uyu anapenda kusave, mimi sipendi, or we just couldn't agree. Now that brings me to you, Doc. You know, when it comes to now planning for the money, there are 3 schools of thoughts here that I shared with you last week. You know, there are those who say, and especially where bills are involved. One who say husband takes care of the biggest chunk of the bills than the wife. Another says 50-50 when it comes to splitting bills. And another school of thought is as per their income. All right. Now, how would you advise couples to go about this, to just get something that works for them as opposed to what is proposed?
Thank you very much. I want to repeat this, that marriage is an institution, and being an institution, it has to have structures. And we have to remind ourselves what brought us together. Number one, we are talking about love. Love is a coded message that works in marriage. And therefore, where there is love, there has to be communication. And mostly in marriages, there is no communication because people don't want to commit. You know, you're a couple and you have come together. Even the Bible says that what God has joined, let no man put asunder. And he brought 2 and they became 1. And where there is agreement, that agreement has to be communicated, and that has to be coded in a code love. And where there is love, there has to be communication. And when you communicate, there is that commitment. You know, when you communicate, you commit. And sometimes that is why you don't find loud symbols, because when you're communicating, like Kedi is saying, you have to come up with a budget. You have to plan. You have goals. We have short-term goals, we have long-term goals. And remember, I like the way Kendi has brought it out, that they had at sitting, even when they were courting, that is pre-arrangement before marriage. We call it premarital counseling, whereby you prepare yourself. And she was able to know that Juma has this kind of a personality, and he behaves this way, allowed money. And that one, I'm sure, if I may not be long, it has helped you to know how you're moving as a couple. And therefore, we have to come to that point whereby we have to commit. And most commitment in marriage, I have to say, Juma, there has to be commitment in writing. Because if it's not written, there is no commitment. And that one built a responsibility, allowed that money. And where there is responsibility, that is where you agree, I am earning 10,000. He is earning 100,000, or I'm earning 50,000, he's earning 10,000. Of course, we need to agree, honestly. I cannot tell him to pay a rent of 20,000 and he's earning 10. You bring his ego down. And when you bring the ego of a man down, there is no marriage, by the way, because he feels threatened, and that is how a man goes and looks for a lesser factor. And that lesser factor can even be a house girl or anybody, you know, somebody who can be, you know, men love submission. And therefore, there has to be that harmony. Allowed marriage. We are talking about love, money, and finances. There has to be harmony. And therefore, as we said last time, there has to be budgeting. And when you budget, you commit it in writing. And when you write it down, there has to be somebody who is taking responsibility. And that is where you agree, can we have a common pool? You can. There are some rules, that a principle that some say that we can have a 50, 30, 20. 50, 30, 50 is whereby we are going to have a common pool where we are going to put our money, and this money is for the basic need, utility, like utility bills. You have to cater for the education of your children, and then the healthy, what matters most. That is the 50%. And you can agree, I'll be giving this amount, I'll be giving this amount. You put it in a common pool, you can put it in an account. You can have the 30. The 30 is whereby you meet the wants. Like, he can go to the supermarket and pick the best hoofer. Please let him not be. Yes. But that one, if it fits in the 30, then as a couple, remember, even the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for the children. Therefore, there has to be saving. We cannot be in lento for all the time. There has to be savings. So you can agree, the 50 will be putting it together in account to meet the utility bills and to meet the basic needs. Then we'll have the wants. You can have different account. That couples works different. And then the 20, let's save together. Again, you remember, there is a lot of debate around savings. Who owns what?
Okay.
Yes.
Again, you haven't answered my question.
Yes.
You may have been kidogo when it comes to this splitting of bills, because bills have to be paid. And let me come to you, Kendi. You know, 50-50, 70-30, depending on the proportion, the higher proportion being for the husband, or as per your earning?
I'm from almost like the 50, not 50, like putting things together. But I think I'm sort of like inclining towards that school of thought, because at the end of the day, we are one unit.
Yes.
We'll have things to be sorted out. But for me, the way I look at it is, if we can agree, maybe if it's Kendi take care of the house, he will take care of the rent. But we still, when it comes to common projects, we can put our funds together. Say, like, if you're going to buy a piece of land or you're going to build, let's put our funds together. Because even if I spare some money, at the end of the day, it's for what? I look at the common good of our family. You know, if I have some spare money, and maybe like he's in business, Nana struggle na hana pesa, you know, it will not help. So I think for me, I would incline towards the third school of thought. But we're able to sort out things and not let one suffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Duncan, if we're being practical.
As I mentioned earlier, that the goodness with, as a man, you go all out and do what you need to do for your family. But once in a while, just know that from an African standpoint, you can access your wife's money at zero interest. Just know you will pay it back at some point. They never have money hanging around. You know the way they say we have some money, Personally, can you help me 100,000? Like, I have some money for the chama. You need to give it back by Tuesday. And by the way, they can stress you on your repayment. So negotiate your repayment very properly so that you don't suffer under the sun. Or in your own, you can even be afraid to go back to your own home.
Yes.
Or go home tipsy, because then when they say it can pass over your head. But the point I'm saying is, I think you're a team. If you figure out hunting as a pack, then you're going somewhere. A level comes when even things happen in families. Your health can beat, things can happen. And sometimes how you behave around money dictates how you will... What happens, there are certain behaviors you do with money that makes you scared of yourself. Like you even fear that people will not take care of you because of how you are either hoarding or being... Like if you hide some money from your spouse, for that lack of a better word, there's a level at which you also start feeling that there are other things that are being hidden from me. So prudence, it dictates that if you're able to go all out and serve your family, but if you work as a team, the strength, the leverage, the enjoyment, the joy. Think of a scenario where if you were building a house and your wife decided to buy the gate, the level of happiness she will have because she has a stake in that. You've heard of scenarios where people say, I got married to this guy, but I found him with everything. So sometimes this guy can say, when I was in this house, I didn't have much headache. This other piece came in and, but if you participated in buying the table together, there's a sense in which you can say, let's sit down and sort things out because you're seeing yourself in the details. So I think I propose a partnership. We've tried budgeting. I think we have our budgets in our heads. It never really works. I don't know, but there's a sense in which we know what our needs are, our projected needs, but then where you feel you need help. From a business standpoint, I don't have like a regular, so one day God can bless me with a level of money, but usually that money also disappears. I think there's a concept we were taught called contra-entry, like the debit side, and so because of that, then you plan around what you have, not what is coming, or else you will die under pressure, under the sun. But the reward is that if you do projects jointly, even your love language becomes better. Even your level of peace to hang around your people is better. Yeah. And maybe also to say it's a thankless job. Sometimes men are rarely rewarded for their effort. I just for the men's conference, I thought I should share.
You just needed to throw it in there. All right. Remember, this is a conversation all around marriage, love, and finances. Just looking at how we can build a happy, financially happy marriage, for that matter, or committed relationship. Again, we welcome you to share with us your thoughts, your question, your comments, or if you're just seeking clarification, we welcome you to do that. But before we take a very quick break, let me come to you, Anastasia. Why is it important to talk about money before marriage as opposed to, after marriage?
Thank you very much. I want to say, and again, I like the way this discussion is going because it's quite a little talk. I want to say that money has to be talked about before marriage. Why? We are finding one boy, you get married, and you get married to somebody who does nothing. You're a woman, you're working. I think we need to talk this. You're working, but the man or the woman is doing nothing. It can be either way. And you just want to join up together. And then when you join up together, this is what happens. Because this man or this woman knows that he's taking care of everything. There is non-committal. And therefore, it's good to ask as the couple, even as you're getting married, what are you doing? And there is nothing wrong, Juma, when the family are asking you what they are doing, because they mind the welfare of their daughter or they mind the welfare of their son. Because honestly, with the current economic strain, you need to ask each other, what, even as you're not doing anything now, but what do you plan to do? What can you do? It is always good to talk about it, because when the strain is too much on one person, and it has happened, there is conflict starts from the word go. And therefore, talk about it. And that is when, that is still when there is, the love is hot in the air. That is the best time whereby somebody will disclose, I earn 50,000, I sometimes I don't get money, like the way Juma has said, that sometimes he gets money because he is in business, the fracas with business. But when you talk about it, especially before But unfortunately, people are talking about money after, which is very unkind to some of us, because how will I know what my husband does? You know, if he's a thief, let me know early. If he's a womanizer, let me know early that some money will be spent somewhere else. But when I know what he does, I commit to that marriage, or I decide. I usually say it's better a broken courtship than a broken marriage. And money is very important, but you have to talk about it. Even when you talk about love, he has said it, Juma has said it very well, that love is built along money, because it flourishes well when there is money. And therefore, talk about it. Talk about the money that you're going to take to in-laws. Because if he's earning 50,000 and I'm taking 20,000 to my mother-in-law or to my mom, and I'm not speaking about it, and when I talk about it, there is a conflict, I think it's not right. Let's say that we'll be giving our parents this amount of money. We'll be helping. All of a sudden, okay, some cultures, I find it weird, whereby immediately I get married, my brothers, my sisters, they're all crowding my house. I even get the braided family. I even get confused. Talk about it. Okay. Will your brothers come? Will your cousins come? How will we? You know, he can be earning 100,000, but then the only money that we have as a family is 10,000. Let's be realistic. Okay. Also, when there is somebody is not working, let them be asked, what are you planning to do? Like, that is what I ask men, because the man is the head of the house, and the Bible has told him he's the head of the house. I ask him, now that you're bringing your family together, what will you be doing with this family? Remember, within 2 or 3 years, you'll be getting a baby. So talk about it, and talk about it openly. Let everybody be responsible, because that is when, and you can buy the school of thought, as I never answered your question. If you talk about it before, that is where you buy the school of thought that you'll be paying house rent.
All right.
You'll also be buying grocery.
Okay.
And you agree.
Better a broken courtship than a broken marriage. Quote for the day. Now, we want to take a very quick breather. We'll be back to continue with this discussion. Keep talking to us. I will be sampling your comments in not too long. Stay with us.
Wachache pekee wanafahamu uzito wa maamuzi kama yako.
Nyinyi, yani mimi nikiwaita nyinyi huwa ni viziwi, hamsikii au katika jeuri zenu.
Sasa huku umekuja kutafuta nini? Hatukuhitaji hapa.
Kijana sikiliza, mimi sizungumzi na wewe.
Sasa utajitenga vipi na watu? Na hapa ndo nyumbani kwako hapa.
Ni heri nikae msituni.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
are back. Thank you for staying with us. We continue with this conversation. Remember, hashtag Badoni Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle. My handle is at Jane Wamboi. We have with us Duncan Juma and Kendi Juma. They are the couple that have graced us this morning. And of course, we have Anastasia Kihuaga, who is a marriage and family counselor. Now, let's get back to this conversation all about money, love, and finance and marriage. Hey, finances is really stuck on me. Let me come to you, Kendi. In the marriage, of course, we have our extended family, and with that also comes responsibilities. And you know, during the break, you mentioned you're a firstborn, and we all know when you're a firstborn, you are the deputy parent in that entire chain that follows you behind. And popularly, it's called black tax, where you have to take care of some of your siblings to some extent or at a certain phase in life. From what you have experienced and from what you have learned, how does this affect the financial health of a marriage?
Wambo, it does to a very large extent.
Yes.
But I think, like Anastasia said, before you get married, you both need to discuss. It should also be wrong for me to get married to Juma, then we stop supporting, maybe paying school fees for the siblings. Yeah, he has a younger brother. I also have a younger sister, and I used to support them. But we need to agree this will continue maybe till university. When he's on his feet, then we can let go. You know, but we can't just stop all of a sudden supporting the family. But also don't forget, like I'd also said during the break, you're both one family. Don't forget about yourselves as much as you're helping people.
Yes.
And even if you guys are going to help people, what percentage? So it's not that you guys, you're earning your money, but most of your money is going to helping other people. You have your projects, you have your plans. Please don't forget about your plans at the expense of helping the families.
But we also see other couples when they get married and najua bas sasa wacha nikuonyeshe ninalipia na ni school fees na sikuwa namlipia. You know, they take advantage of their partner. And that brings me to you, Juma. You know, what do you make of this setup when you have those that had previous responsibilities that they will come with into marriage, and there are those who think, okay, now that I'm in this marriage, I will show you how we do this thing. When it comes to the extent to which you can help the extended family with your finances.
Yeah, I think I agree with Anastasia. When you need to have pre-marriage conversations around the whole, whether it's an ecosystem or the context that the context that you find yourself in.
Yes.
Get to know many men have been exploited, wrongly so. You know, where your value was based on how you are floating your cash power, money power. I even know during COVID context where a lot of men who lost their jobs could hardly even stay at home because then they were known to be, like, they used money as the stick that made them, you know, which is very good. Sometimes we are humble just because we don't have power. If we don't have money, if I had money, maybe, anyway. So those conversations would help so that, because for example, I don't think you should just live for yourself alone. I know Kendi says we have plans, and it's a good thing, and that's why she's a planner. I usually tell her, this is where we are going, build structures for us, me, I'll sponsor. And so, but the context is, at least if you're going to help society, agree. And society could mean your immediate family members, it could mean a neighbor. When we talk about blacks, in the African philosophy or African way of living, there was a sense in which a community would come together, sponsor you to go as far as you can, but when you find bread, please bring a bit of it home. So in a marriage setup, agree on what bread is then going in this space. Think of a scenario where you live, maybe those of us who are in Nairobi, and then you go home and your car gets stuck, and they know that there was a harambe for some needy kid, and you had powers to assist and you did not. So there's a bit of buying that social capital to say, but have conversation around it. Even think of scenarios like where you send money to certain quarters. If you're not heavily transparent, it can be a cause of, think of a context where someone finds out you've actually been paying school fees for a child and they didn't know. In their world, then they are like, what more do you have in store? What skeletons do you have that I do not know? So I think that's, and money is very emotive. Sometimes we get married when we are just barely starting out in life. We haven't met money, or we haven't met, or you can get married to someone who has money and it disappears, in that sense. They lose their job. How you manage those sessions and then how that translates into the help you accord to your family members, it should be part of your conversation. But be as realistic as possible. Set very realistic expectations. Don't set yourself up for failure. As she said, help from a place of strength. Most times we help, yet we ourselves are not stable.
Yes.
Your landlord akituma padlock emoji on you panic, They say a lot of Kenyans are one medical bill away from poverty, so help from a place of strength. And sometimes when you're strong, then you're able to even help more.
All right. Now, coming to you, Anastasia, how would you advise couples to go about this, handling the extended family with the financial responsibilities that it comes with? Because I know it gets some time where, you have to live with maybe one of their parents, the in-law, financial issues, medical issues coming along the journey, to safely navigate these waters in a way that will not serve to your disservice as a couple.
Thank you very much again. I want to say that it's very important to talk about even helping the outsiders, because you are not loners. I was born and brought up somewhere. He was born and brought up somewhere, and there are people allowed us. It's good to support, because one of the things that we need to encourage is social support, as he has said. The social capital, because you need to build network around yourself. However, as Kedi has said, let's not forget about ourselves. We usually say in our profession, as I'm helping others, remember I must be that person who is one of the others, and I must be first start with me and then the others. Marriage is physical, whereby you can be strong. There are those strong areas as an individual, and the strength can go for such a time, because we have the age, the biological clock works still against us. So there is that age of between 30 or 20 to 40, whereby the couple, you're strong and you can be very productive and fruitful. That is the age whereby you can really put across other finances outside. But between 40 and 60, you need to also now start building yourself, because you're building for your legacy in the future. And if you did leave something for you, also the bread that you're giving people, you'll also be begging for bread. And we are discouraging that I'll be waiting at the gate for my children to help me. And therefore, we need to plan along that line and ask ourselves, okay, it's very good because I have parents, they have parents. We have to support them. But we need to agree at what extent. Sometimes you get emergencies. And these emergencies, we also need to discuss as a couple. How will we be handling emergencies? Like somebody has called you, please help me with 20,000 or 10,000. It is very courteous to say, we have, sorry for what has come up, but we can only be able, out of the 20,000, we can only be able to assist you with 2,000. Because it's good to be realistic, as we have said, because sometimes you can be outstretched and your strength is gone, and that builds a conflict. And also, if you're a man or a woman and you had a baby outside marriage, it is also good to talk about them, because honestly, how can you forget your biological child? Even wherever they are, if they are disowned, remember you are the father. And personally, I usually see, I have no issue. If my husband tells me that he had a kid outside before we got married, I have no problem. Even when they come to my family, why? Because they are part and parcel of my husband. And therefore, it's good to discuss about it. But some people, they are co-parenting outside and they are married elsewhere. It is also good to say that I usually said 5,000 for my son, who I got before marriage, and it's okay. I'm sure it's agreeable, because why should I refuse my son or my stepson to be helped, or my stepdaughter? But many don't communicate. It still remains a gray area. So communicate about it. Say that I have a brother, I have a sister, I have my auntie, I am supporting this project, and therefore this amount of money I'll be giving it out. And sometimes discuss along that money. If the money is not enough, still say that this time is not enough, we are going to give 5,000 or 2,000.
All right. Transparency cuts across board. Now, you've actually mentioned the aspect of children, and that is where we are coming, actually. Children in line with money. Children, as long as you agree to have a child, money will be involved. And this is also an area that so many couples couples struggle with. One couple wants to take one person wants to take children to this school. The other says, okay, that's not practical. Let's take them here. The other one says, okay, Mimi, I wasn't brought up that way. In our family, we go to this school and this costs this much. And this is a disservice to the couple. Let me start with you, Juma. When it comes to agreeing on finances that involve the children, down to even the kind of toys that you buy for them and the financial responsibility that it comes with.
I like where we are going, you know. This is a good place. One of the things maybe you mentioned about, even let me mention a little bit about school. Many parents are very aloof to whatever happens to school. So they don't even know that a good school can be affordable. Yes. I wanted to say cheap, but I think it's not politically correct.
Cheap can be relative.
I'm on TV. So a school can have very good routines, good teachers, and affordable.
Yes.
But sometimes we buy into the name of a school, or, you know, I also want my child to be in that school bus, you know, yet maybe you can have do the guy just deliver the package. Anyway, so my point is then having discussions on which school fits what profile and the kind of, because a lot of people get themselves into financial debt by over-investing in their children's education. For once, I went to a school where, and I don't know whether I'm a template enough, but I went to a school where literally my motivation for going to school was that the mango trees were there and they were too tall. So if you didn't come early, the early birds will pick the mangoes that fall by themselves. But I somehow came out right. I'm on TV. So I think get to know the routine of schools and just agree as a team.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes we have even scenarios where parents give ultimatums to their partners, like if my child doesn't go to this school, this is it. But also get involved so that you know what really fits. But also understand your money power and project in and say, in case of a hitch, how do we go about it? There are people who buy children annoying toys, you know, and also understand the personality of your kid. That's another thing. Sometimes, I'm sure you've gone to a home where you find a kid jumping all over the place on the seat, then you're like, these parents are not very good. But actually you realize maybe the kid is a heavily extroverted kid, but because the guests came, wakasema kunywa soda na mgeni, you know, they spiked the little boy, and then are telling, sit down. You end up punishing a child for a mistake that is yours and not hers. So getting to discuss on how far you can spend money on some of these things. I know of parents who agree with the kids before they go to the supermarket and say, what do you need? So when you go to the supermarket, we buy you what you need, you said you want, not what you saw and thought you should be having. And those are serious conversations around just spending. But also, of course, before you even reach children, sometimes also what parents think are emblems to show love to their children. I live in a place where every child has a bicycle, and we don't have a place for the bicycles to be ridden. So I don't know whether they're teaching them mechanical stuff on the bicycle, but the point is, just because the neighbor has, you can talk to your children to a place where you say, I may not buy you a bicycle, but if you work hard, or I'm told all parents are benevolent dictators, if you work very hard, looks like I'll give you a car in future, you know. So
the future looks bright.
Yeah, the future looks bright. I'm working hard to get. So, but by and large is that anything that strains your finances needs to be talked to. Anything that if there's a dynamic that changes will strain you. It's something. Of course, there's also luck. You can actually overinvest and somehow you get a promotion at work. Who knows what the limits of God are? But you know, God may not be limited to you. So. Give your children a good shot at life, but at the same time, don't kill yourself doing it.
That also, I would like to hear also from you, Kendi. Understanding that you have to provide for your children, that goes without saying. It is your responsibility, but also doing it in a way that doesn't compromise your financial standing as a couple.
I agree with Juma. Because also, I believe, boy, there's no need of us like straining. Because I also think at times we do some of these things to be like the Johannesses, like these guys have gone to this school. And I also believe also in marriage, there's a lot of peer pressure. you know, in terms of maybe the car you drive, where you go to school, where you live, but maybe it's not our season for being in this particular school, I'm living in this particular neighborhood. But as long as we're able to agree, maybe if we are taking our child to this particular school, what do we want to see? What is the outcome of our children? It does not have to be an expensive school, but a good school that helps us bring up good kids. But you need to have those discussions even before. If you're able to afford, well and good. If you're not able to afford, look for other options that will give you guys good quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
So conversations around the children and the expenses that they come along with, lay them bare on the table and work within your means.
Yes.
All right, now as we are drawing nearer to the end, and we cannot conclude without talking about debt. Debt. Kuna wale ukuja nazo kwa ndoa na kuna wale they accrue debt while in marriage. What comes to mind immediately when we talk about debt? What jumps out at you?
Things like loans, you know, you could take a loan and things don't work out, maybe you lose your job. How are you going to handle that debt as a family? Or even before I got married, I mean, say for example, if we met each other while we were working, maybe I'd taken a loan to educate my siblings, or maybe I'd taken a loan to buy a piece of land. How are we handling that in our marriage relationship? Will I continue paying the loan, or maybe if he has extra money and is able to help, how are you going to handle money? Or maybe alichukua deni akaenda akanunua shamba hakuniambia, yeah, you know, and then we find ourselves in a crisis. Debt is a very big thing that we need to talk about as a family. You know, how do we handle it as far as our relationship is concerned? Because it will bite you at one point whether you want it or not.
Whether you like it or not. Juma, you agreed?
Yeah, you know, when you get married, they say you're getting married to her, but you also get married to her drunk uncle.
The whole family.
Her debt. Actually, I know my uncles are watching.
Tarudisha ngombe.
In fact, someone said, if children wanakusumbua waachie madeni wakukumbuke. But the point is, debt, it's worth a conversation. Don't just talk about the fries of this place, the nice ambience of this hotel. When you're dating, talk about serious stuff like, what is your money doing currently? You know, there's a time I had 1.5 million loan when I was young. And the problem is, I didn't know what that money had done. You understand? You know, when you have a loan and you look back and like you don't know, and you know. And I remember at some point being slightly delinquent. I think what I did is I paid up front. I'm like, hey, I owe this bank this money, so let me cover myself for a whole year. I was just jumping out of employment. Then the loan had an anniversary date. Like every month you must show something. I paid you money for 2 years. What's wrong, you know? So they kept calling. So I used to have very nice conversation with them. One day I told them, your loan, I used to buy things that I didn't need. So you guys, we are in this together. Let's figure out a way.
We made this bad decision together.
They kept calling me. I went to their office. I'm like, guys, don't call me. You know. But the point is, talk about debt. Some of us get, you know, they say averagely, okay, I'll not mention, but there's a certain loan app that they say averagely people are taking at least 7 times in a month. That means when you pay, it gives you another chance to. So it could be not the bank loan, it just could be that your phone.
Availability.
You go home for Christmas and you have access to monies that, you know, and these things delete
money that you don't need.
They do your advertising, so I can't say that. But talk about those little money habits around. There are people who constantly cannot live with. You've seen fresh juice and you have an app that can give you little coins to access. So money habits, but also now debt management. So you look at constructive debt that helps you move forward. There's a debt that you can have that will kill you. The debt you can have that actually says, I know I'm playing small, but after this I will have made some strides.
Bad debt and good debt.
Bad debt and good debt.
All right. Anastasia, also your thoughts on the same when it comes to handling debt management, because we know debt can be the death of a marriage.
We talk about psychology of spending.
Yes.
And this one, we said it depends on this personality. Also, are you mentally stable? You know, the people when they are depressed and stressed, they misuse money without their awareness. So, are you mentally stable even as you're spending? And that is why two are better than one, because there is that planning and there is that communication around that. There is sometimes when you talk about debt, there are people who are entering into gambling, the betting. It's quite an addiction that is upcoming, and it has brought a lot of conflicts within families, and people are even getting loans to go and bet.
Yes.
And therefore, I still say, let's talk about the money that we have, because when the money is, it's known, it's either you're doing it, you're keeping it for yourself in the account, or you're putting it together in the account. But let it be known. Because when your partner knows about how much I earn or how much I have or what revolves around me, it may not be the correct figure, but what revolves around me, at least they are able to track you, and they will also help you. I've seen families, I have cancelled families who broke because of gambling. Somebody bet, there is a couple that the man, Ali bet how. So you can imagine that without them saying, you're imagining that the people are coming to get you out of the house and you're not aware. You can imagine where those people are. I really want to say that debts are there, but you need to ask yourself, are you psychologically okay? Are you mentally stable? Is there something that is emotionally driving you to do whatever you're doing? Because sometimes you see somebody was not drinking and all of a sudden they have started drinking. What could be going on? You know, those are things that you never bother. And these people might be even getting loan to go to those things. And all those things. Are you socially getting a spend free because of the people who allowed you? We say the 5 men or the 5 women allowed me. They can really determine how I spend my money. And therefore socially, and do I have a network that all of a sudden, you know, you can notice that your husband, all of a sudden the spending has gone up. Maybe the class of the people, and as they have said, please let's grow gradually. If you're not yet there, don't jump there, because when you jump there, you'll jump into a hot soup, and then you want to maintain a social culture. You know, there are people who the pressure from outside, it's quite much, and it's forcing you people, because why should I move house? Because my neighbors moved house. I should wait until my turn comes. And that is also what happens to the children, as they were discussing about the children.
Yes.
Look for a school whereby there are various systems. Look for a school whereby there is character formation of my children. Look for a school that I can afford, and all those things. And look for a school whereby the structures are okay, because again, you can't just look for a school for the sake of looking for a school. And I usually say, invest in a child as opposed to investing for a child. There are people who are very busy building houses, building for the children and buying land, but they also don't invest in the child. Even time, it's also an investment for the child. Therefore, let's look at all those things.
All right.
And it will be easy for us. And let's not grow fast, but let's grow gradually.
Progress.
Yes, progressively.
All right. Now, there's Rachel here who's saying a big part of marriage is creating a life you love together. Money is simply a tool to help you realize those dreams. Then there's another one here who's saying, this is Ada. Hey, women. Some use marriage to escape not working for their money. Marriage is not a career.
It's true.
All right, there's another one here. Let me quickly get it. This one was from a man. Yes, I'm going to leave out some words. I'm going to paraphrase this. If two people decide to become one, in itself you have promised money, marriage, cabbages, standing on one leg, and every other thing that comes with the other individual, with money being at the center. Okay? Then there's another one here from Afolabi, who says, things as a man that I would prioritize. We have marriage, education for my children, the woman you're marrying, and of course, money and peace of mind. All right. Now, as we close this conversation, very briefly, when it comes to bank accounts, what's your advice to couples? We start with you, Kendi.
I don't think there's any written rule. It should go back to the two of you. For example, if we were both working by the time we met, I had a bank account, the process of changing my documents for me is a problem. But you can agree to have your different accounts, but also a joint account where maybe you use for your projects.
Okay.
But maybe my account is for sorting out my issues. Like Anastasia said, as long as, say, Juma knows I have this blanket, I mean, like he knows, or he's already accessed my pay slip, he knows how much I earn. And if he's doing business, I know how much he earns.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as we have that openness and there's no room for suspicion, I can run my account where I'm able to sort out my other things. So that you're not married and you're being policed by your spouse.
All
like,
right.
how much did you spend the last shilling receipt? You know?
All right.
Have that honesty, but you can also have a joint account for your projects.
All
That's
right,
what I
so
believe.
to each their own, but you know, having a common pool would be works.
That's what I'm saying. It's not cast on stone. Depends
Yes.
on what works for the two of you.
To each their own.
Yes.
Juma, very briefly on the same when it comes to bank accounts.
The accounts are everywhere. You can have an M-Pesa account. The accounts are all over. So if you're running your own, we don't have a joint account. We've been trying, but I don't know. I think the planner is still planning. So I think agree on what needs to be done, and you do it whichever way you want to do it. Maybe just a caveat to something we had alluded a while is learning to readjust when your fortunes dwindle.
Yeah.
We can have bank accounts that are dry. So learning to know that when things hit the roof, build a scenario where you can actually talk your woman into saying, hey, we're going to live slightly lower than our current level of privilege. So our bank accounts are dry. So let's go to Mukuru and enjoy the Lord's doing.
All right. Anastasia, as we close this conversation, your thoughts when it comes to bank accounts or the different places to which our money comes in?
Thank you very much. Again, that's a good question.
We have about a minute to go.
The bank account, I will say, like Kendi has said, agree as a couple what works for you, because we cannot say, like, there are people who can be manipulative because maybe a woman is extroverted or introverted and they want to control the man, or the man want to control a woman. That is manipulation. Let there be an agreement. The money has no problem. Even if the money is in my account and your money is in your account, as long as there is a budget, there is responsibility and commitment and accountability, it will work out best according to the couple. Communicate around money. And then love will flourish.
Communicate around money. Transparency is important through and through. Well, this brings us to a close of this conversation. Again, we cannot discuss everything in this one sitting, but we do appreciate the time you have accorded to be with us here on Good Morning Kenya. I have been speaking with Anastasia Kihuaga. She is a marriage and a family counselor. Thank you so much, Anastasia. We have also been speaking with Duncan Juma and Kendi Juma. They are the couple that have been with us through this discussion. Thank you, lady and gent.
Thank you.
We appreciate that you made time to be with us today. And again, thank you for being with us. Remember, we do this every single day here on Good Morning Kenya from Monday through to Thursday. Be sure to join us again tomorrow morning for another beautiful discussion. My name is Jen Wamboy. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
When our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.